When I was just 3 years old, I merely kissed my grandmother's technique once. My grandfather dragged me to the graveyard to pick a wife. Among them were not only Republican-era young ladies who had been dead for a century, but also kings, generals, and ministers from past dynasties, as well as the still alluring concubines of noble households. Even the infamous Empress Dowager Cixi was scrambling to call me her husband, but young as I was, I didn't spare them a single glance. Instead, I ran to an unnamed grand tomb and called out, "Wife." It all started because 3 years ago, when I was 10 days old, a thought struck me. The entire village was packed so tight you couldn't move. The village's half-immortal, Madman Zhao, said this was a yin kang sending a son. Earthly immortals all clearing the way. I was a once in 10,000 years top scholar as fate, but it also destined me for a life riddled with calamities. I was a prime target for possession by wild demons and rogue immortals. And the first calamity would strike when I turned 3. An ordinary mortal body simply couldn't protect me. I had to find something not human to shield me. My family was shocked by these words, though they agreed to let Madman Zhao seal my spiritual sense first. Then, on my 3rd birthday, he would personally take me to the graveyard to propose. And so, I stayed dull-witted for 3 whole years. Finally, the day of my 3rd birthday arrived. Madman Zhao came to my house early in the morning. He took my hand and headed toward Kinkyu graveyard. Seeing this, my father and grandfather quickly grabbed the betrothal gifts and followed. According to the villagers, on Kinkyu Peak, only beings like gods and spirits were buried, so no one dared to bury their own family on the summit. They'd pick a good spot on the mountainside. The bolder ones would bury theirs halfway up. Madman Zhao led the group straight toward the peak. At that moment, my father nervously waved his hand. "Uncle Zhao, you're not heading to the peak, are you? That's the domain of gods. No one dares go up there." Hearing this, Madman Zhao snapped angrily. "We were going for a marriage alliance, not to cause trouble. What's there to fear?" The group soon reached the peak. They found it completely different from the graves below. All around were stone-piled burial mounds, not a single one with a wooden tombstone. Then Madman Zhao looked at my father and grandfather. From left to right, top to bottom, kowtow and kneel to each one. Don't miss a single one. After that, my grandfather went to a stone tomb, placed down an incense burner, and lit 3 incense sticks. My father carried me over to the stone tomb, then kicked me right in the knee. I fell straight to the ground on my knees. The next second, the 3 incense sticks were instantly snapped in half. Seeing this, Madman Zhao rushed over and formed a hand seal. Then he bowed forward. "Miss, my apologies for disturbing you." With that, he then carried me by the collar toward the second stone tomb. My father quickly chased after him with the offerings. "Uncle Zhao, what's going on?" Madman Zhao set me down in front of the tomb. "That one was a general's daughter. She doesn't want your boy to marry into her family." "Forget it." Then my father kicked my knee again. I thudded to the ground once more. Then, everyone's eyes were fixed on those 3 incense sticks. The smoke's patterns turned chaotic and twisted. Madman Zhao sighed. "Let us go." Next, the group came to the 3rd stone tomb. Same old routine. The incense snapped again, until the sky gradually darkened. I had knelt before every single stone tomb here. My father, rubbing his sore arm, walked up to Madman Zhao. "Uncle Zhao, these girls all think my boy is an idiot. None of them are willing. What do we do?" That's part of the reason they refuse. More importantly, a 1,000-year-old demon has set its sights on him. They don't dare to provoke it. As he spoke, Madman Zhao counted on his fingers again. How strange. Logically, this kid's fate holds great fortune. There should surely be someone who commands heaven and earth to protect him. Why is no one willing? He then looked at my grandfather. "Old Han, call your grandson. I'll do another divination for him." The 3 of them turned to look at the stone tombs behind them. I was nowhere to be seen. My grandfather slapped his thigh in panic. "Where's my grandson?" The 3 of them scrambled to their feet and searched around. Finally, they found the huge black cave at the edge of the cliff. At that moment, I was standing in front of the cave, grinning like an idiot. Suddenly, a gust of eerie wind swept by. My father shivered and said, "Uncle Zhao, has he been possessed by a ghost? What do we do?" "Uncle Zhao, hurry and chant a spell." Zhao the madman glanced at my father with disdain and said, "Chant a spell? Nonsense, such a coward. Let's go take a look. I feel like that place over there looks like a grave." With that, Zhao the madman strode forward, taking the lead. Just then, I, who had been grinning foolishly, suddenly turned my head. My eyes flashed with a fierce light. I stared straight at Zhao the madman. Seeing this, Zhao the madman's face stiffened. He quietly pulled a gourd from behind his back with his right hand. "May I ask who you are?" "Sir, why have you possessed this child? Anything can be discussed." At that moment, a cold, clear female voice came from my mouth. "I want this child. Bring me offerings." Hearing this, Zhao the madman looked at me gravely. "Who exactly are you?" I want to casually hand this child over to an unknown entity. As he spoke, his entire body tensed up. His right hand gripped the gourd even tighter. Then the cold, clear female voice rang out again. "On this entire mountain, besides me, no one can protect him. Bring the child over and give me offerings immediately." He paused, then added, The talisman behind you is utterly useless. I am informing you, not negotiating. The moment the words fell, I suddenly fell to my knees again. My eyes returned to their clear, foolish state. Seeing this, Zhao the madman sighed helplessly. He put away the gourd in his hand. He pinched his fingers to calculate the time. It has to be this way. Those fellows will be here soon. Let us go. We were going to propose marriage. With that, Zhao the madman walked over to a broken tombstone nearby. He only glanced at half a character on it. Zhao the madman's face instantly changed drastically. He stared at the black cave in disbelief. Then, rubbing two fingers together, a small flame ignited in his hand. He directly lit the broken piece of the tombstone. Seeing this, my grandfather looked puzzled. Who exactly is this young lady? Zhao the madman cut him off sharply. Don't ask anything. Only this young lady can save you. Have that boy kowtow immediately during winter break. When Yan's grandfather immediately led my father. They set out offerings again. Then they lit 3 incense sticks. This time, the incense smoke rose straight up vertically. Seeing this, my father jumped up excitedly. Uncle Zhao, this time it really worked. Zhao the madman raised his hand and slapped my father on the forehead. In the presence of this young lady, show some respect. Don T jumped around wildly. After saying this, he walked over to me. Child, you must stay inside the coffin today. Under no circumstances should you come out. If you come out, you'll lose your life. Understand? With that, Zhao the madman picked me up and walked toward the black cave. Inside lay a coffin of vivid red. There was a faint, subtle fragrance of flowers in the smelling this scent. Zhao the madman's face stiffened again. He quickly placed me inside the coffin. Then he hurriedly led my father and grandfather down the mountain. I stood there, dazed and motionless. Not long after, the sound of a rattled drum came from outside the cave. As soon as this sound appeared, I suddenly walked to the cave entrance as if bewitched. Outside, on the graveyard, many children had suddenly appeared. One child, who looked quite large, was playing with a rattled drum in his hands. As a child myself, I was immediately drawn to it. Just as I was about to go over, the familiar cold, clear female voice sounded in my ear. Fool, come back. They are not human. And the big boy not far away smiled kindly at me. Kid, do you want to play with this? I chuckled. I took 2 steps forward. The boy's smile deepened as he said, Come on, come play with us. Come on, come play with us. I unconsciously stepped forward again, just as I was about to leave the grave's perimeter. The smiling boy suddenly transformed into a weasel demon. The other children also revealed their true forms. Yin Tianzi, I finally waited for this day. With that, the big weasel dropped to all 4s and charged at me. Enraged by this, I finally realized the danger. I quickly stepped back a few paces, but my legs were unsteady, and I fell flat on my backside. The big white weasel was already in front of me, its sharp teeth lunging at my head. Just then, suddenly, that cold, clear voice rang out. What rank are you? Daring to snatch my person? Who gave you such nerve? As soon as the words fell, a chilling wind swept through the area. The big weasel was instantly sent flying. It landed with a pitiful, pained squeal, then tucked its tail and fled in panic. The other little weasels followed suit. Then the woman scolded me. Idiot, get back here now. Hearing this, I was stunned for a moment, then wobbled back to the side of the coffin. I don't know how long passed. I started feeling drowsy, so I leaned against the coffin corner and fell asleep. Vaguely, I seemed to hear sounds of a struggle. When I opened my eyes again, I saw a blinding light coming from inside the coffin. The clear foolishness in my eyes vanished instantly. At the same time, the woman's voice sounded in my ear. Idiot, it's almost dawn. I've already unlocked your spiritual seal. Remember my words. Many things came tonight, and I've dealt with them all, but I've expended too much power. I won't be able to act for years to come. There's a book beneath me. Take it and read it. Don't let anyone else see it. I nervously leaned in. Are you all right? The woman's tone was stern. Don't speak. I don't have much time. Once you learn what's in the book, you'll be able to safely reach the age of 18. If there's anything you don't understand, ask that wandering Taoist from last night for help. Come on your 18th birthday to revive me. I scratched my head in confusion. Revive? What revival? How do I revive you? But the only answer was silence. Just then, outside, my grandfather's voice rang out. I grabbed the ancient book and ran out of the cave. Seeing that I had regained my senses, my grandfather rushed over and hugged me. Behind him, Zhao the madman smiled with relief. Now, he could truly call me a prodigy of 1,000 years. After returning home, I opened the ancient book. Its contents were all about fortune-telling. As my understanding of the book deepened, I gradually came to realize that the woman had unlocked my spiritual seal, so I could learn the ancient book she gave me. In the 15 years that followed, I studied and pondered who that woman really was, though I thought her talk of revival was nonsense, since she had saved me. No matter how difficult, I would help her revive. Finally, the day of my 18th birthday arrived. I came early to that red coffin. Seeing her again, I couldn't help but feel nervous. After all, as a child, I didn't understand marriage. Now I did. I hesitated for 2.5 minutes. Then, as if making a decision, said, Miss, 15 years have passed. I've come to fulfill my promise. Then the female corpse's voice sounded in my ear. 15 years ago, I deflected disaster for you, but you were still cursed by the weasel's dark art. There's a medicinal pill in my coffin. Take it and eat it. Under the staff's escort, I immediately reached my hand into the red coffin. But the first thing I touched was a small, delicate foot. I instinctively squeezed it. A cold voice immediately rang out. Where are you touching? That voice startled me so much I trembled. I could only force an awkward smile and apologize. Let me look again. With that, I reached my hand upward. Sure enough, I found a pill, so I reluctantly pulled my hand out. Then I brought the pill to my nose and sniffed it. It had a faint herbal scent, also mixed with a unique fragrance of a lady. Seeing this, the lady immediately got angry. What are you sniffing? Are you some kind of pervert? I looked confused. What's wrong with me smelling this medicine? As soon as I said that, a sharp slap rang out across my face. Then I felt a sharp pain. I covered my face, feeling very wronged. Fine, I'll take it now. Okay, why are you throwing such a big tantrum? Helpless. I swallowed it in one gulp. After swallowing it, I suddenly felt my body become much clearer and lighter. Just then, the lady's voice rang out. Now it's time for you to fulfill the agreement. To revive me, you need to meet 3 conditions, and they must be completed tonight. If you miss today, you'll have to wait another 15 years. Hearing this, I couldn't help but feel uneasy. If I can't do it today, I have to wait 15 more years. Then I'd be almost 40. I never expected the conditions to revive this lady to be so harsh. So I started to back out. Maybe you should find someone else. I don't know anything. If I mess up your plans, I'd be a sinner. Hearing my words, the lady replied in a cold tone. I've waited for you through an entire cycle of reincarnation. 15 more years won't make a difference. Just do your best. Though her tone was calm, I could still detect a hint of sorrow. Suddenly, I caught a key phrase. I asked the lady, "What do you mean? Waited for me through a cycle of reincarnation?" The lady didn't answer me. Instead, she directly stated the first condition. I need corpse coffin fungus. Bring me the corpse coffin fungus after you retrieve it. Once you accomplish this, I'll tell you the next task. Hearing that I needed corpse coffin fungus, those things are fierce. This thing only grows on the corpses of wealthy people from ancient times, and it's an extremely cold substance. It cannot be exposed to sunlight. It must be held in the mouth. Clearly, I couldn't do this alone. It looked like I'd have to go down the mountain. Thinking this, I rushed to the village without stopping to find my good buddy, Erpang. But when I entered the village, I sensed something was wrong. The village was eerily quiet. Even the usual sounds of children playing were gone. My heart sank. I hurried home to check the situation, but there was no sign of Grandpa or Dad at home. I called out a few times inside the house. No one answered. Seeing it was already afternoon, I decided to first check if Erpang was still around. Just as I reached Erpang's doorstep, I heard strange shouts coming from inside the gate. What demon dares to act recklessly before me? The third dragon prince. Then came Erpang's terrified screams. Oh my god, why are you biting people? Help, this thing the third prince, sense trouble. I kicked open the gate and rushed in. I saw something neither fully human nor fully dog chasing Erpang all over the yard. This person has turned into a zombie. I immediately pulled a talisman from my pocket, raised my hand and threw it. The next second, the talisman suddenly flashed with golden light. It flew straight toward the zombie's face. Hundreds of silver portals. Just as Erpang was bracing for his doom, he found himself completely unharmed. Erpang turned to look. He saw the zombie standing completely still. Seeing this, he breathed a sigh of relief. He turned to me and said, "Tiangao, what is this?" "A walking corpse. Something's happened in the village. I don't know what. Forget about that for now. I need your help to go up the mountain with me." With that, I grabbed his hand and quickly headed toward the back mountain. Along the way, we encountered quite a few zombies, but for some reason, no matter where I go, every zombie blocking my path ends up killed by a big white rat. But I had no time to think about it then. I quickly began counting on my fingers and chanting a spell to search for clues about the coffin army. Soon, I discovered that inside Wang Erpo's ancestral grave, there was actually something I needed. My eyes lit up. I hurriedly led Erpang over there. I took out the treasure-seeking compass, grave chamber after grave chamber. Finally, at the grave of Wang Erpo's 7th uncle-in-law, it reacted. First, I lit candles all around the ancestral grave. Then I pulled out a shovel and handed it to Erpang. We take turns. One digs, one keeps watch. If anything unusual happens, shout immediately got it. Erpang looked at me in disbelief. What did you say? Dig up a grave. Tiangao, are you out of your mind? I couldn't tell him the truth, so I had to make up an excuse to brush it off. Thinking this, I curled my lips slightly. So what? You were not scared? Are you? Hearing this, Erpang got angry. What kind of talk is that? Tiangao, you don't really think I am a coward, do you? I nodded immediately. And if I do, fine. I'll show you what it means to be bold and stubborn. You keep watch. I'll dig first. With that, Erpang grabbed the shovel and thrust it deep into the earth. I patted Erpang on the shoulder, walked to the outer edge of the grave mound, and watched as Kinkyu Mountain gradually darkened around me. Suddenly, I felt like something was staring at me. This sent a chill through my heart. I quickly gripped the evil-breaking talisman tightly in my hand. Just then, behind me, Erpang let out a shout. Whoa, what the hell is that? I spun around sharply to look, but saw nothing behind me except Erpeng. So I put the talisman back in my pocket. Are you crazy? You scared me so much I almost threw the talisman exclamation. I only have one evil-breaking talisman. Erpeng ignored me, crouched down, and picked something up. Hey, look at this, is it gold? Hearing this, I grew curious. I walked over to Erpeng and saw him holding a golden chain in his hand. Erpeng looked at me excitedly. Tiango, we've hit the jackpot. Who knew there'd be gold in this grave? There's bound to be more underneath. VLL split it later. I nodded again and returned to my spot to keep watch. But out of the corner of my eye, I noticed the candle at the southeast corner suddenly flickering. Seeing this, I quickly looked at Erpeng. Stop digging for now. Why is the candle starting to flicker? But Erpeng didn't hear me at all. He kept repeating the motion of digging the grave. Suddenly, a gust of eerie wind swept by. The dim yellow candlelight around us had turned an eerie green. The sight before me made my face drain of color. This is ghost fire. Erpeng. Stop. Something else wrong here, exclamation. But Erpeng still didn't respond. My heart sank. I hurried forward and tugged at his clothes. The next second, Erpeng suddenly turned his head to look at me. Oh, Erpeng. His originally honest-looking face had become stiff and rigid, his eyes glowing with green light, his expression fierce and murderous. You insolent brat, how dare you dig my grave? No mercy, exclamation as soon as he finished speaking. Erpeng grabbed the shovel and swung it at my head. Seeing this, I quickly rolled backward, barely dodging the blow. Then I reached into my pocket, only to find the evil-breaking talisman was gone. I immediately looked around, and soon spotted it, under Erpeng's foot. That yellowed scrap of paper. At that moment, Erpeng was already charging at me again with the shovel. Seeing this, I turned and ran for my life without looking back. But that Erpeng turned out to be a surprisingly agile fat man. He caught up to me quickly, just as he raised the shovel, to deliver a fatal blow. Suddenly, a big white rat blocked my path behind me. With a loud bang, the shovel slammed hard into the big white rat. It let out a miserable shriek. Hundreds of silver portals. I instinctively sidestepped around Erpeng. I ran toward the direction of the talisman. When I got close, I lunged straight at it. I grabbed the talisman in one swift motion. By imperial command, let it be done. As soon as the words left my mouth, the talisman in my hand blazed with golden light. It shot straight at Erpeng's face. Erpeng was instantly blasted 2 meters away. The entire graveyard fell silent. Only my own panting remained. I slowly walked over to Erpeng. I slapped his face a few times. Erpeng, wake up. But he didn't respond at all. What's going on? Haven't you driven him off yet? From behind me came a shrill male voice. His vital energy is severely damaged. To cleanse it immediately. You'll need this herb. That voice startled me so much I shuddered. I turned around and saw an old man with white hair standing behind me. In his hand, he held a plant. At first, I was stunned. Then I looked him over warily. Could you be that big white rat? Hearing this, the old man burst into laughter. That's right. Go help that fat kid up now, or you won't be able to dig out your share. Dazed, I took the plant from his hand, and the white-haired old man transformed into a big white rat and ran into the forest. I stared deeply in that direction. Then I fed the plant into Erpeng's mouth. After 2.5 minutes, Erpeng groggily opened his eyes. Seeing he was mostly fine, I grabbed his shovel and returned to the grave pit. I swung the shovel and started digging down. After a long while, the sky had completely darkened. Just then, Erpeng walked up to me. Let me do it. With your scrawny frame, you'd be at it till next year. With that, he snatched the shovel and buried himself in the work. Soon, we unearthed a coffin. Erpeng and I worked together to pry open the coffin lid. The next second, a stench of decay wafted out from inside. I pinched my nose and peered in. Inside lay a skeleton. One of its bones was faintly glowing. I looked closely. It was the coffin lord. Now that we'd found the item, how were we supposed to transport the coffin lord to the female corpse? After all, if you held that thing in your mouth, it would freeze your lips solid. Suddenly, I slapped my forehead. Damn, I'm such an idiot. Why not just carry the female corpse down here instead? With that thought, I quickly instructed Erpeng, stay here and make sure no one or anything gets near the coffin. Got it? Erpeng cursed. What the hell have you been messing around with all night? That crappy coffin doesn't even have any treasure. Who'd want to come near it? As I walked away, I fed Erpeng some reassurance. Once this is done, I'll treat you to 3 chicken legs. All you can eat. Hearing this, Erpeng immediately grinned. You said it. After settling Erpeng, I hurried to the mountaintop. Just then, I saw the white-bearded old man standing at the cave entrance, apparently chatting with the lady. The first words that reached my ears were, each of the old man's 3 conditions is no easy task. Are you sure you want that half-baked kid to handle it? I have my own plans. All you need to do is assist from the sidelines. Don't meddle. That kid should have succeeded by now. Stay hidden. Don't act unless absolutely necessary. The old man acknowledged with a grunt, then transformed into a big white rat and slipped into the grass. After he left, I slowly approached the coffin. Coffin lord, I've found it, but I can't bring it up, so I'll have to carry you there myself. The lady had no objection, so I pried open the coffin with the shovel and hoisted the female corpse onto my back. Then I quickly returned to Erpeng's ancestral grave. I glanced around. I saw that Erpeng had actually fallen asleep on the ground. I ignored him. Instead, I went to the coffin. After setting the female corpse down, I opened my mouth and pulled out the coffin soldier from inside the coffin. I stuffed it into my mouth. Damn, it's way too cold. But I forced myself to bear it. I quickly turned my head and leaned toward the female corpse's face. Just as our lips were about to meet, a sharp voice suddenly rang out. Stop! Exclamation. Young man, are you aiding evil? Don't let yourself be bewitched into helping this demoness. I looked up. Not far away stood a man wearing tattered Taoist robes. I was a bit confused. I made some muffled sounds from my mouth. Seeing this, the Taoist grew more anxious. This woman must never awaken. If she does, this land will be plunged into devastation. You'll become a sinner of this world. Do you understand what I mean? At that moment, my face was pale. In the end, I couldn't hold out any longer. I lowered my head and kissed the woman. Then, with a push of my tongue, the coffin soldier slid straight into her mouth. The next second, the woman's eyes snapped open. The sight before me startled me so much I shuddered. I shook her body. Only after making sure she wouldn't move again did I let out a long breath. Then I looked toward the Taoist in the distance. He was pointing at me. Young man, why won't you listen to reason? Now over 3 souls have merged into one. This woman's power has recovered. You're still young. Don't let yourself be seduced by a woman's charms. Seeing him like this, I spread my hands. Hey, uncle, I was just asking you what to do with the thing in her mouth. It's too precious to just spit on the ground. Right. Hearing this, the Taoist jerked his head up. I forgot that thing is extremely cold, but it's fine. Only one soul has returned. From now on, you must listen to me. Before he could finish, the woman's sharp voice rang out again. You think you can sway my people? The moment the words fell, a fierce, powerful gust of yin wind suddenly swept through, sending the Taoist flying several yards away. He scrambled to his feet and immediately shook the copper bell in his hand. Then a flash of purple light passed by. A rich fragrance suddenly filled the air around me. Then, the woman's pained voice entered my mind. Why, leave this place. I am not strong enough to deal with him right now. Hearing her words, I hesitated, so I looked at the Taoist. Why do you call her a demoness? You have to convince me, or I won't let you harm her. Seeing this, the Taoist slapped his thigh in frustration. Fine, 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 I'll tell you. This woman once he only got halfway through, when his brow suddenly furrowed. Then he turned and ran. I was baffled. You didn't even finish what you were saying. Aren't you supposed to be exorcising demons? Just as I was thinking this, voices of discussion came from below. The first thing I heard was a girl's voice. Senior brother, why didn't they let us come here? How long do we have to wait before we can target that demoness? Then a male voice replied. Should be soon. Let us keep watch first, in case anything goes wrong just then. The woman's voice suddenly sounded in my ear. Quick, carry me to your village's ancestral hall. Hearing this, I scooped up the woman and ran to Erpang's side. I slapped him twice. Erpang, wake up. Come with me to the ancestral hall. Now! Exclamation. Erpang groggily woke up. I didn't wait to see if he heard me. I hurried toward the ancestral hall. Halfway there, I saw many people in white clothes at the foot of the mountain, marching in groups up the slope. Seeing this, I immediately stopped and hid behind a rock. The female corpse's voice rang out again. Quick, cast a concealment spell on me. Hearing this, I looked down at her. I thought to myself, she is probably afraid her strong fragrance will be detected by those people in white. So I quickly recited the incantation in my mind, then formed a hand seal and pressed it into her. The next second, her fragrance instantly faded a lot. By then, those white-clad people had drawn closer, and I could finally make out their faces. Leading them was an old man with white hair. Flanking him were 2 middle-aged men. Behind them were all young people. Seeing them draw closer, I ducked down a little more. These people were definitely all here for the female corpse. Our village hasn't seen a single outsider in 10 years. And today, of all days, the female corpse is about to awaken. What a coincidence that so many people show up in the village. The connection between these events is obvious without even thinking. After they left, I headed back to the ancestral hall. We arrived quickly. Then the female corpse's voice rang out. Now go fulfill the second condition. Draw some water from the well in the corner. I set the woman down on the ground, picked up a ladle, and went to the well to fetch water. When I came back, her voice sounded again. Go get the highest-ranking ancestral tablet in your lineage. I was stunned. The highest ranking that would have to go back to my great-great-grandfather's generation. The tablets in this hall are stacked layer upon layer. The topmost one is nearly 4 meters high. I'll need a ladder. Thinking this, I walked out of the ancestral hall. Suddenly, a thunderous roar boomed outside, followed by flashes of lightning. Looking at the sky, I was puzzled. It had been clear all day. Why the sudden change? I shook my head, turned and went to the back corner of the ancestral hall. There was a red ladder there. I strode over quickly. Just as I lifted the ladder to leave, a strange noise reached my ears. I followed the sound. There, in the open space behind the hall, something was crouching. I walked over with the ladder. Who's there? It's about to rain. Why aren't you going home? As I spoke, the figure slowly turned its head. Seeing that pale face, my heart jolted. Village chief, what's wrong with you? The village chief didn't answer. Instead, he dropped to all fours and started crawling. Seeing this, I turned and ran. Just as I reached the open doorway of the hall, I saw Erpang walking toward me. At that moment, the village chief lunged past me. His target was Erpang, so I didn't hesitate. I pulled out Master Zheng's talisman and threw it. It struck the village chief's body, and he froze instantly. Erpang rushed to my side. Tiangang, what's going on? What happened to the village chief? I looked up at the water's surface. Something's wrong. This isn't ordinary corpse transformation. They seem infected with corpse poison. If that's the case, then the whole village might be doomed. By now, Erpang was panicking. Oh my god, everyone in the village has turned. What do we do? Tiangao, think of something! Exclamation. I ignored him. Right now, reviving the female corpse is the priority. With her extraordinary power, she must know what is happening. So I picked up the ladder and headed into the hall. Erpang, follow me in. Help me with something first. Once inside, I had Erpang hold the ladder steady. I climbed up and took down the highest tablet. Just then, another thunderclap boomed outside, followed by the sound of pouring rain. The thunder startled me. After steadying myself, I leaped down, landing beside the female corpse. What now? Hurry up. I think many in the village are infected with corpse poison. I am worried about my family too. Do you know what's happening in the village? The female corpse's voice rang out. Chop this tablet into pieces. Soak it in spring water for 3 minutes. Then give it to me to swallow. Hearing this, I frowned. Chop up an ancestral tablet. That's a huge offense. What exactly are you trying to do? As soon as the words left my mouth, the tablet in my hand was suddenly knocked away by some unseen force. When it hit the ground, it split into 3 pieces. I sighed helplessly. My apologies. Then I found an axe and started chopping the tablet. By now, Erpang had finally figured it out. Everything I had done was at the female corpse's behest. He silently gazed at the female corpse. Tiangao, this woman is truly beautiful. She asked the wife you were betrothed to at age 3. Under the staff's escort, he poured the chopped wood shavings into the wooden ladle. 3 minutes later, I lifted the female corpse's body with the water ladle. After taking a sip of water, I leaned in and kissed her on the lips again. Just then, footsteps sounded outside. I immediately looked up toward the door. The female corpse quickly stopped me. Don't mind them. Keep feeding me, so I kissed her again. After several rounds of this, a voice rang out from the doorway. An old, weathered voice. Ice Maiden, I know you're waiting here, but you must understand, what you're doing completely defies the heavenly Dao. Why don't we talk this over? That voice sounded very familiar to me. It seemed to be the white-robed old man I'd met on the mountain. But I didn't stop. I kept pouring the spring water into her mouth. Seeing no movement from us, the shrine door was soon kicked open. When the people outside saw the scene inside, everyone furrowed their brows tightly. How can you still be kissing her? Don't you know you're aiding evil? How can you kiss a female corpse? This is a grave violation of moral order! Exclamation. One of them immediately stepped forward to stop me, but Erpang kicked him back. What do you think you're doing? Trying to steal my brother's wife? Huh? Middle-aged man outside stomped his foot in frustration. You're all causing chaos. Do you even know who he is? He then turned to the old man behind him. Elder Kai, what do we do now? Hearing this, Elder Kai stepped inside and looked at me. Just as I thought, he asked, completing the second step, using the frost power of Changbai Mountain as medicine, invoking the oldest ancestral tablet of this land to neutralize the local Kai. Now only pure yang blood is left at these words. Murmurs erupted all around. This is trouble. If that demoness awakens, none of us here can handle her. What are you panicking for? Do you think pure yang blood is so easy to find? We all right here. Aren't we? Listening to their discussion, I fell into thought. It seemed they all knew the method to revive the female corpse. As for what pure yang blood meant, I had no idea, but I did know my own birth chart was all yang. Could it be that this female corpse wanted to drink my blood? Just then, the female corpse's voice interrupted my thoughts. Enough, go out and send them away. I was stunned by her words. Send them away. How am I supposed to deal with so many people? At that moment, the female corpse's lips moved. Don't you want to know what really happened in the village? They know. Startled, I looked at her. Now this female corpse could already open her eyes and speak. 3 of her 7 orifices had opened, but this wasn't the time to dwell on her changes. Since she wanted me to go out, it meant the third condition wasn't yet due. I might as well go out and ask about the village. I just hoped my grandfather and father were all right. Thinking this, I walked out of the ancestral hall. Outside, a massive crowd had gathered. They were split into 2 groups, Wudang Taoists in white robes and Maoshan Taoists in yellow robes. Taking in the scene, I cleared my throat. If you all here for the woman inside, then please turn back. She has shown me kindness, so naturally, I will protect her. Zhuquan Wen Yan. Elder Kai made a Taoist gesture toward me. Young friend, before descending the mountain, I was an elder of Wudang. I am here on orders to slay demons and eliminate this calamity. Before I could answer, I heard Erpang's father, Uncle Wang's voice calling out to me. Shen Gao, run! Exclamation. I pushed through the crowd. Outside the ancestral hall, a mountain of stone was piled up, and every single one of those people were villagers from our village. I followed the sound with my gaze. I saw Uncle Wang constantly urging, "Young master, hurry up and run over there." At that moment, I was lying in front of Uncle Wang like a corpse. Lifeless. Uncle Wang, what happened to you? Where's my dad? Where's my grandpa? Seeing how agitated I was, Elder 7 immediately stepped forward and helped me up. Young friend, calm down. These villagers are all infected with an ancient poison, and now the corpse poison has attacked their hearts. They've already lost their senses and humanity. If you rush over like that, you'll get infected. Hearing this, I was momentarily stunned. Then I glared at the group of Taoists with burning rage. Who did all this? Why did they do this to our village? Hearing this, Elder 7 sighed helplessly. We're still investigating the exact cause, but for now, this isn't the time to worry about whether these villagers live or die. In the face of greater righteousness, we must choose what's more important. You still need to learn to distinguish priorities. Hearing this, I stared intently at Elder 7's forehead, my veins bulging. I don't care about your greater righteousness. In my eyes, the people in this village are my everything. You're ignoring so many lives. Just for a woman, I see you're all full of talk about benevolence and righteousness. But in truth, you're hypocrites who devour people without spitting out bones. All of you. Get out of the village. Hearing what I said, Lotus Taoist from Maoshan quickly reminded Elder 7. Old 7, we can't waste any more time. I've seen this kid before. He's a pure Yang Fate Palace. That means the demoness has already gathered all 3 souls. She's probably about to awaken soon. Elder 7's expression changed. Young friend, as soon as I said that, I'll ask you one last time. Before he could finish, I directly interrupted him. Now my only family left are them. If you want to go in, you'll have to step over my corpse first. The thunder in the sky grew louder. The moment the words fell, and the raindrops suddenly became heavier. In the eyes of the Taoists, my figure gradually became blurry. Elder 7's eyes flickered. Since that's the case, dozens, hundreds of silver portals, then don't blame me for being rude. The next second, Elder 7 suddenly struck out. Then I only felt a sharp pain spreading from my chest. Immediately after, Elder 7 lifted me with both hands and threw me toward the entrance of the ancestral hall. I crashed heavily onto the ground, spitting out a mouthful of fresh blood. Enduring the intense pain, I lifted my head to look. I saw Elder 7 draw his longsword. Our Wudang sect respects that you are a 9th-rank fortune teller. We can grant you a dignified end. Please show yourself quickly. Then the 2 groups shouted in unison. Demoness, come out peacefully. As the voices grew louder, there was finally movement from inside. Directly, Erpeng walked out slowly. Holding the female corpse, he immediately noticed me lying on the ground and quickly ran to my side. He gently set down the female corpse. Tiangao, how did you spit blood? Did they hit you, or because of the intense pain? I couldn't speak at all. Seeing me like this, Erpeng's eyes instantly turned red. It's okay, Brother Tiangao. I'll get revenge for you. Saying this, he swung his fist and charged into the crowd. But the next second, he was kicked flying dozens of meters away, falling to the ground without moving. Then the Taoists quickly rushed toward the female corpse. Just then, the female corpse suddenly sat up. First, he fiercely sucked several times at my mouth. As my blood entered her mouth, the female corpse instantly vanished before my eyes. In an instant, I only heard a series of crashing sounds. Then came a chorus of screams. In just a few seconds, the yellow-robed and white-robed figures before me had mostly disappeared. Only 7 or 8 Taoists remained standing in place. A hint of panic had already appeared on their faces. Elder 7 pulled out 7 formation flags. Miss Yin, do you really think I have no way to subdue you? Saying this, he threw out the formation flags. At the same time, he formed hand seals. 7 stars ascend to the peak. Suppress the void. Form the binding demon array. Settle heaven and earth. As your words fell. Looking up, I saw the black clouds in the sky. 7 stars gradually began to flicker, forming the shape of a ladle. But inside my body, things felt very strange. The wound on my chest didn't hurt as much. My breathing had also become much smoother. Yet the very next moment, I felt like my whole body was about to burn up. I immediately tore off all my clothes. Old Taoist Kai, stop chanting. Damn it, stop right now. But 7th Elder kept moving his hands without pause. Zio Yao, don't be stubborn anymore. If we hadn't set up the formation before you arrived, it would have caused a huge disaster today. Hearing this, I was dumbfounded. Then go after him. Why is it me who is about to burn up? A 7-star formation suddenly appeared beneath my feet. The moment the words fell, then 7 beams of light descended from the sky. On the other side, Elder Kai was stunned at the sight. How can this be? How did the 7-star artifact enter that kid's body? As he spoke, he pinched his fingers to calculate. His expression instantly turned to shock. Holy crap, this kid actually has a pure Yang Fate Palace. Treading on 7 stars. I never expected this. Miss Yin had already calculated it perfectly, that we would use this formation to trap Luo. He immediately withdrew the formation, and led the remaining Taoists running out of the ancestral hall. But at that moment, I grabbed Elder Kai's arm. Then, an unusually hoarse voice came from my mouth. Stop right there, who said you could leave? After saying that, I grabbed Elder Kai and hurled him backward. A dull thud rang out. Elder Kai immediately spat out a mouthful of old blood. Miss Jin, are you sure you want to do this? This will offend both our Wudang and Maoshan sects at the same time. Think carefully. The lady fell silent for a moment, but in the end, She still stood in front of Elder Cat. Let them go. Hearing this, I collapsed straight to the ground, completely motionless. In a haze, I felt as if I were in a sea of blazing flames. Across from me stood a man who looked exactly like me. He just stared at me with a sinister smile. I don't know how long I slept, until Erpang's voice entered my mind. Only then did I slowly wake up. Sister-in-law, Brother Tiangang has been unconscious for 7 days now. Still no good. Should we take him to the county hospital? What if something happens? As soon as he finished, he saw me open my eyes. Tiangang, you reawake. Oh man, you scared me to death. He helped me sit up. Erpang, where is my grandpa? Where are my dad and the others? Hearing this, Erpang's head drooped. After you passed out, Sister-in-law has been taking care of you. I went out to look for the villagers, but everyone in the village was gone as he spoke. Erpang's tears fell straight onto the edge of my bed. But Don Tilu's heart. Sister-in-law said, none of the bodies I burned were your family. They were just missing. Their whereabouts unknown. But my dad is definitely gone. Hearing this, my heart was full of confusion. What's going on? Did my family know about this all along and run off without me? No. Impossible. I shook my head, forcing myself to calm down. Then I heard a hopping sound from outside the door. Just then, I looked at Erpang. What's wrong? Are there still zombies hopping around the village? Erpang wiped his tears and helped me off the bed. That sister-in-law moving around. But let me warn you first. Don't freak out when you see her. Hearing this, I was baffled. What's there to freak out about watching her walk? So I pushed open the room door with curiosity. The yard looked just like before, covered in chicken feathers. The only difference was, now a stunningly beautiful woman was hopping around the yard. The sight left me completely dumbfounded. My grin was harder to suppress than an AK. The lady seemed to notice my gaze. That lady seemed to have noticed my gaze. Then he turned to look at me. Our eyes met, and I winked at her. Miss, so, where exactly did my family go? Those Taoists said you're a 9th rank fortune teller. You must be able to divine where they went. Right, aren't you a fortune teller yourself? Do it yourself, how can I calculate like this? As he spoke, he raised his stiff arm again. Struggling, I finally couldn't hold it in anymore. Haha, sorry about that. I didn't mean it. What's wrong with you? Why are you still like this after waking up? After saying that, I felt a sharp pain in my rear. Damn it. A gentleman uses words, not fists, holding my rear. I quickly ran to Grandpa's room. From under the bed, I took out 3 copper coins and a bogwood diagram. After placing these items on the ground, I called Erpang to shake the coins 3 times, then stand where I am now. Erpang didn't understand why, but he obediently stood in my spot. He began shaking the coins. As the sound of 3 copper coins hitting the ground rang out, I frowned deeply. Again, with a great misfortune. Then another crisp sound rang out. Damn it. Even worse. I don't believe it. Shake again. Erpang nodded immediately. Then he shook once more. This time, it was different. 1 coin. 2 kun great auspice. All death gates, it's a joyful funeral. What does that mean? Could it be that Grandpa passed away peacefully? No, this means I need to go to the city in the south to find my family. Thinking this, I immediately found the female corpse. What did you divine? As he spoke, he picked up a bamboo stick from the ground. I swallowed hard. 1 coin. 2 kun, it's great misfortune. 1 coin. 2 kun. Seated in the south. It should mean my family might have gone to the city. The hexagram shows a turning point in the south. After saying this, my heart tightened. It was just my first time casting a hexagram, so I was a bit nervous. And seeing the lady's stance, she was clearly here to check my work. Thinking this, I closed my eyes, ready to receive her correction. Yet after a few seconds passed, there was still no movement. Instead, her approving voice came. Not bad. First time casting. You can already divine the direction and location. Then tell me, what does the death gate you shook mean? Hearing this, I was stunned again. A joyful funeral. Maybe my grandpa passed away peacefully as soon as I finished. The small bamboo stick in her hand struck me directly. Was it you who shook the coins? Just because your grandpa died. Hearing her words, I immediately realized. Oh, right, it was Erpang who shook the coins. Not me. This means Erpang has great fortune coming his way recently. In other words, we're strange. The lady nodded. Pack your things. We're heading to the city. After saying this, she leaped out of the yard, but I stood there. My expression dim. This was the place that raised me. Before I went up the mountain, the village was still very lively. Now, there isn't a single living soul left. Thinking this, the scene before me gradually blurred. This time, heading to the city, I must find Grandpa and the others, as well as the murderer of the entire village. Don't let me catch you, or else I'll make you pay for every life in my village. And that cold woman, I'll take you down sooner or later. Then I wiped my tears, called Erpang to pack our luggage, and followed the female master onto a black car heading to the county town. At that moment, the driver in black sunglasses shouted at us. Which two? We're setting off. Hold on. Hearing this, the people in the car immediately grew displeased. 2 seats for 1 person. The driver in black sunglasses grinned darkly. Bear with me, otherwise, this trip is long. It won't even cover the gas. Look, Hey, here come some people. As he spoke, he waved at two girls in the distance. Two beauties, heading to the city. Just two more to go before we set off. The two girls immediately got on the bus upon hearing that. The big brothers on the bus saw two peaches coming up. Their eyes instantly narrowed into slits with smiles. There are no seats left on this bus. How about you sit on my lap? After saying that, the two girls stopped in their tracks. Frowning, they looked at the driver. You don't have any seats either. The driver in sunglasses gave a dark grin. Then he walked to the aisle by the door and pulled something. A fold-out seat popped out. You two are both very slim. This spot should be enough. Squeeze in a bit, and we'll get going. Seeing this, the two girls just sighed, but they still sat down. At that moment, I looked up. My brow instantly furrowed, because on the forehead of the short-haired girl, there was a wisp of black energy. It meant she was about to hit a streak of bad luck. If the life palace had a red glow, that would mean a bloody disaster. I quickly turned to look at the female corpse. She has black energy on her forehead. Is she about to run into big trouble? You ask me. How would I know? I pursed my lips. Say it or don't. I don't care, as if anyone wants to know. Then the bus door fully closed. The driver cheerfully started the engine. The bus jolted and bumped along the way, and before I knew it, I drifted off to sleep. I just felt like I was sleeping on something soft. I even rubbed against it a bit. It was very comfortable. But good times don't last long. The driver suddenly slammed on the brakes. I was thrown straight into the back of the front seat. I immediately opened my eyes. Blearily looking around, I saw everyone on the bus scrambling to steady themselves. The driver cursed loudly ahead. Damn it, stupid stray dog. Scared me to death. All black, I almost didn't see it. Hearing this, the others looked out the window. Sure enough, there was a black mud ahead. It was lying motionless in the middle of the road. Seeing this, the driver grumbled and opened the door. Wait for me. I'll go handle it. With that, he stepped off the bus, but just as the fierce-looking guy walked, he suddenly froze. What's going on? The driver looked surprised, glancing around the ground, since we couldn't see the ground from inside the bus. Everyone was puzzled. The driver just needs to shoo the dog away. Right, what's he doing? The bare-chested big man sitting in front couldn't sit still anymore. He also opened the door and got off. Damn it, did the dog bite you? He said, as he walked over. Then, bizarrely, he also stopped in his tracks. Damn. What's going on? This completely piqued everyone's curiosity on the bus. Two grown men go down and act like this. Is a dog really that scary? The two girls also got off out of curiosity. Pang turned to me. Tian Gao's gone down too. Let's go check it out. I looked at the female corpse. She was sitting upright with her eyes tightly shut. She might have fallen asleep, so I nodded to Pang. The two of us slowly got off the bus. That's when I heard the murmurs from over there. Who did this? A pervert? How cruel must someone be to do something like this? Listening to their chatter, I walked over curiously. People were gathered around the spot ahead, but I noticed there seemed to be a few red dots on both sides of the road. I stepped forward. What came into view was shocking. The black dog on the ground was just an empty shell. One of its eyes was a hollow socket. The other was fake. Only the fur was left. I quickly looked to the side. I found that next to the empty dog shell, there were two basins. In the basin on the left was a pile of tiny white bones. In the basin on the right was fresh red flesh and blood. Seeing this, I frowned deeply. This was recorded in a book. It was a very early passage. I learned it when I was about 12. For a moment, I couldn't quite recall it. Just as I was frowning and thinking, a cold voice came from behind me. Sit facing south. Back to the north, the foreigner takes the road. As soon as those words were spoken, my eyes lit up immediately. The foreigner takes the road. The carriage enters the yin path, commonly known as the road of yin and yang. This funeral procession is a calamity. I blurted out in shock. This startled the people not far away. They all looked at me. Kid, what are you yelling about? It's late at night. You're staring at that dog like it's some divine monkey. What are you screaming for? Just then, the driver in sunglasses walked over. Little brother, you just said this is dark sorcery. I nodded. This dark sorcery is very popular down in Nanyang. It opens the yin path, trying to drive us straight to the underworld. The crowd looked incredulous again. They started murmuring among themselves. So this kid really knows something. He can even see that. I ignored them. Instead, I moved closer to the driver. Brother driver, take off your sunglasses. Hearing this, the driver froze. He instinctively stepped back. Little brother, if you have something to say, just say it. Why take off the glasses? I need them for work. The red sun is blinding. What if something happens? We'd all be in trouble. Right. I stood still, staring at him intently. It's 9:15 at night as soon as I said this. The other passengers also looked at the driver. Seeing everyone staring at him, Pang got impatient. He stepped forward and snatched off the glasses. Just take them off. People might think you're blind. But the next second, everyone fell silent because the driver only had one eye. The other eye socket was completely sunken. Yet the good eye had a bluish pupil, and it was very small, at least 2 sizes smaller than a normal person's. Everyone stared at his bizarre appearance, too frightened to speak. The driver didn't get angry. He lowered his head, avoiding their gazes. I was born like this. The other eye just never developed. The darker it gets, the clearer I see. During the day, the sun actually makes my eyes uncomfortable. So don't worry, I see better with sunglasses than you do without them. Pang awkwardly handed the glasses back. Brother, I didn't know. Hearing this, I thought you were just wearing them to look cool. Sorry about that. The driver took them and put them back on. It's fine. I've lived this long. I'm used to people staring. Little brother, I can tell you know something about this. You said it's dark sorcery. Why did you want me to take off my glasses? He then looked at me. Everyone else calmed down too. Seeing this, I sighed. It seems it's true. If Brother Driver's eyesight weren't good, he definitely wouldn't have seen it. Plus, there are few cars around, and the speed is high, even if we crashed and stopped. It would be too late. Going further would inevitably lead to the yin path. Everyone stayed silent, watching me. After I finished speaking, right under everyone's gaze, I pried out the dog's eye. Then I split the plastic eyeball in two. Inside was a slightly yellowed object, which looked like a copper coin. An unusually hoarse voice came from my mouth. Seeing this, I suddenly understood. I looked up at the still-dazed driver. Have you received any similar copper coins in the past 2 days? As soon as I said this, the driver suddenly slapped his forehead. Little brother, I know what you're talking about. When I was eating lunch, a Taoist sat down across from me. He just kept staring at my eyes. A Taoist sat down across from me. He just kept staring into my eyes. I took off my glasses because it was inconvenient to eat. After 3 or 4 minutes, the Taoist stood up and left. He paused for a moment, but on the table lay a copper coin, which looked quite valuable. Seeing no one around, I picked it up. As he spoke, the driver brother took a copper coin from his coat pocket. Everyone turned to look. They saw that this copper coin was exactly the same as the one in my hand. I frowned in thought. This driver brother's life palace was bright, indicating he was an open-hearted man, so he definitely wouldn't offend anyone, adding that the other party was a Taoist. That opened up another possibility. So I looked at the driver brother again. What was the Taoist wearing? The driver now fully believed I had skill, but he answered bluntly. He was just wearing a tattered Taoist robe, looked about 40 or 50 years old. Hearing this, I jerked my head up. Tattered, that was a big clue. I remembered when I was feeding. The coffin lord, the Taoist who suddenly jumped out, was also dressed very shabbily, so it seemed he was after me and the female corpse. At that moment, the others began scolding the driver. How dare you take someone else's money? This is a Taoist. He could kill you, and you wouldn't even know how you died. Now the driver was scared too. Forget it. I won't drive this trip. Let us go back. Just then, I interrupted their argument. Don't worry. I can break this formation. Just listen to me. Everyone, hearing this, everyone quieted down. An unusually hoarse voice came from my mouth. I walked to the spot where the black dog had been placed on the road. I crouched down, picked up a pinch of dust from the ground nearby, and sniffed it. Sure enough, it was cinnabar. This Taoist-esque methods were nothing like orthodox Taoist techniques. It was more sorcery than evil arts, very common in Miaozheng and Nanyang. I immediately went to Erpang. Erpang, check both sides of the road. There should be 4 pillars of sandalwood on each side. Break them in half at the middle, but Don T let them fall over. Hearing my order, Erpang did it at once. Dozens, hundreds of silver portals. I asked the other men in the car, who smokes? Hearing this, the driver stepped forward. I have cheap cigarettes. Would you like one? To you and Hongmei. I shook my head. I don't smoke. You start smoking now. About 5 cigarettes. Collect the ash in your palm and give it to me. Though the driver didn't know what I was up to, he still took out his cigarettes and crouched aside to smoke. Meanwhile, I crumpled the empty dog's skin into a ball, then lit it with a lighter. In an instant, a terrible burning smell filled the. I quickly moved the seal away. Then I grabbed the bones and flesh from the basin with my hands, throwing them to both sides, while chanting, "Dust returns to dust. Earth returns to earth. Pain returns to the Earth Lord. In the next life be a tiger. In the underworld, suffer no more." As I spoke, I threw everything clean. Just then, Erpang's voice came from the west. "Tian Gao, come quick. Something's wrong over here." Hearing this, I followed the sound and found Erpang. Erpang's face was full of terror. "Let me show you something." Don T scream, and Don T shout. He pulled me close, pointing at the ground, taking in the scene. My mind went completely blank. There, lying on the ground, was a woman's corpse. She looked extremely young. I looked closer and realized this woman was the one who had been riding with us, the long-haired girl. I forced myself to stay calm and began to think there must be some connection. Then I suddenly remembered the short-haired girl was nowhere to be seen. When she got on the bus, her life palace was shrouded in black. She was about to face great misfortune. I didn't know the reason then, but now it seemed it was definitely because of her classmate. Just as I was thinking about it, Erpang suddenly grabbed me tightly with his hand. "There's another one over there by the sky. Right over there. While I was waiting for you, I found this female student. Could it be that the short-haired girl also?" At this moment, I grew even more puzzled. I walked over to where Erpang was pointing. This female corpse was lying completely face down on the ground. So to see clearly, I'd have to turn it over. But just then, I caught a foul smell. This wasn't present on the previous corpse. Could they have died at different times? No matter what, let's first check if it's the short-haired girl. I grabbed her arm and flipped her over with force. The face of the corpse was revealed. Seeing the face, I frowned deeply. The owner of this corpse it was actually second Granny's daughter. Wasn't she supposed to have died in the village? I remember Erpang told me before that he and this girl were about to get engaged. She was studying in the city. Could it be that this girl was killed on her way back to the village, and then her soul returned to the village? But now I was 100% certain of one thing. That shabby Taoist was definitely up to something, because the village incidents bore his shadow. And now, the one casting evil spells on the road was also him. In all of this, the Taoist must be inextricably involved. I clench my fists, cursing that old lantern. Don't let me find out that you caused the destruction of our entire village. Otherwise, I'll personally take your life. Just then, Erpang's voice came. Tiangao, are you okay? Why are you staring so long? Erpang said as he started to walk over. Seeing this, I quickly flipped the corpse back. Then I led Erpang back to the road. As soon as we returned, everyone looked at me. Little master, what happened down there? Yeah, we're all terrified now. Can we even leave or not? This place is too creepy. Didn't that fat guy just say something's wrong? They looked at me with pleading eyes, but I noticed that the girl beside the short-haired one slightly raised her head to look at me. She had very large eyes, but the color of her pupils was strange. Just that one glance made the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. The driver immediately noticed my gaze. Little master, what's wrong with that girl? Everyone turned to look as well. The girl quickly lowered her head, reverting to her normal appearance. I turned to glance at the woman in the car. She looked up at me and gave a slight nod. Then I immediately smiled at the driver. Nothing much. My buddy here is just a bit timid. He saw a night rat digging a hole. By the way, driver, where's the ashtray? The driver quickly pulled out his cigarette pack. I nodded. Now, everyone get in the car. Driver, drive forward normally. No one speak while we're moving. We can't let them sense any human presence. Understood. Everyone nodded repeatedly. Worried about accidents, I repeated it twice more, only after everyone fully understood. Did I let them board the car? Then, I asked, none of you in the car are born in the year of the rooster. Right. Everyone shook their heads. I nodded and was about to leave, when the female corpse's voice rang out faintly. If you don't tell the truth, get the hell out. As soon as those words were spoken, I immediately frowned. This was a matter of life and death. Who was still hiding something? Seeing I was angry, they all exchanged uneasy glances. Finally, the short-haired girl weakly raised her hand. Handsome, I'm a rooster. Please don't abandon me. I have a very important interview tomorrow. I'm begging you. I helplessly rubbed my forehead. Who said I was abandoning you? The reason I asked who was a rooster is that the roosters crow at dawn will attract the attention of the yin path. Once the evil formation is broken, to return to the normal path, one must avoid yang during life and death. Only then can the gate of life be open. Hearing this, his expression relaxed. I then gave him a few more instructions. When the car starts moving, close your eyes and Don T peek. Without my order, Don T open your eyes, and Don T speak either. Otherwise, you LL bear the consequences. The short-haired girl nodded like a chicken pecking rice. Understood. Young master, I LL definitely obey. You may begin. Then I walked back to the roadside, took out the cigarette pack, and facing the path previously covered with cinnabar, slowly poured out the character life. I looked at the intersection ahead, made a hand seal, and saw a flash of white light up front. The character formed by cigarette ash trembled slightly. I turned and walked back to the car. Everyone's eyes were tense, not daring to breathe loudly, some even covering their mouths. I closed the car door without a word. The driver brother started the engine as agreed. As the car moved, I didn't dare let my guard down. I only hoped everyone in the car would follow the agreement and make no sound. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. We de-step onto the yin path again. Once on the yin path, everything encountered along the way might not be human. The car was quieter than ever before. Finally, the car was about to pass the rope ahead when a human head slowly slid down from the roof outside the window, and that window was right by the short-haired girl. Even I was startled. Looking closely, that head belonged to the long-haired girl. To make us make a sound, something would surely cause trouble. Using the long-haired girl's appearance was because it would shock the short-haired girl the most. If the short-haired girl saw it, she would definitely scream. That would disturb Yin Lu, and all our efforts would be wasted. But luckily, I had made her close her eyes beforehand. Just as I was congratulating myself on my careful planning, I noticed the short-haired girl's body trembling slightly. I sensed trouble. This girl must have peeked. If only the rooster would crow until dawn, seeing her tremble more and more violently, as if she was about to burst into a scream at any moment. I reached out, grabbed her shoulder, and pulled her toward me. Her body instantly fell onto my lap. This scared her even more, and she opened her mouth to scream. I grabbed the steamed bun Erpang hadn't eaten yet, and shoved it into her mouth. An unusually hoarse voice came from my mouth. Then I pressed down on the bun and her chin with my hand, completely blocking the scream about to erupt. Luckily, no disaster occurred. Everyone now noticed me and the short-haired girl, but they all obeyed, just staring wide-eyed at me and the girl pinned on my lap, without making a sound. Finally, the car smoothly passed the rope and kept moving. Normally, that should have been enough, but I feared time was short, so to be safe, I still didn't give them the order to relax. I waited a full 3 minutes, by which time the car was far from the Formation S location. Only then did I release the girl on my lap. She immediately sat up, using her hand to dig the bun out of her mouth. Seeing this, everyone else also started gasping for air. The driver brother then looked at me. Young master, so now we just drive normally. I let out a long breath. It's back to normal now. Just drive straight to the city. Hearing this, the driver's voice grew louder. That's great. Everyone, hold tight. I'll speed up a bit. Let us try to get there early. As the car started bumping along again, I drifted into sleep. When I opened my eyes again, I was back in that sea of flames. Why here again? What exactly is this place? Why is there fire here? Is this still the mortal world? Then the driver's delighted shout rang out, pulling me back from my dream. All right, everyone, we've arrived. I snapped my eyes open, only to find myself drenched in sweat. The back of my clothes soaked through. I wiped the sweat from my forehead, and seeing the others in the car, I finally felt at ease, looking at the much busier streets outside. They all cheered up. Great exclamation. We were really safe now. We made it. Seeing everyone looking reborn, the driver brother also beamed with joy. This is all thanks to this young brother. Otherwise, we wouldn't have made it to the city so safely. As soon as those words were spoken, everyone kept apologizing to me. You've got skills! Exclamation. Little master, you really have something special. Having you here today was truly lucky. Seeing them so grateful, I felt my face flush with embarrassment and guilt. It was probably bad luck, I thought. If we hadn't been heading into the city, that thing probably wouldn't have struck so hard. Everyone got out of the car one by one. My gaze fell on two girls standing not far away. Then the short-haired girl dragged her companion. Handsome. Thank you! Exclamation. I have nothing to repay you with. I nodded, smiling as I watched them leave. I didn't say much about the long-haired girl, mainly because I didn't want to get tangled in that karma. What everyone is meant to encounter isn't something humans can decide. If I so much as offered a warning, the consequences would fall on me. Once they were completely out of sight, I bought a red cloth from the store and gave it to the driver. On your way back, put this under your seat and just drive back like that. Once you get home, burn this red cloth immediately. After that, you can drive normally. The driver froze. I am not done yet, I said. He visibly tensed up. I quickly reassured him. Do as I say, and nothing will happen. After finishing that, I hoisted the female corpse onto my back and headed off. After all, the corpse hopping along on its own was way too conspicuous. I carried the woman for a short while, when Pang scratched his head and looked at me. I have a question, Tiangao. My dad and I have been to the city before. We need to stay at an inn first. Do you have an ID card on you? Before I could answer, the woman shook her head. We were not staying at an inn. Just keep walking forward. I was a bit confused. I had no choice but to lower my head and carry her on. After finally walking for an hour, we stood at a street corner. The woman asked to get down from my back. This street was different from the ones outside. It was very narrow, and there were hardly any people inside. The ground was deliberately uneven, paved with rough stone bricks. Looking at the street before me, a chill ran down my spine. Why does this look so eerie? Anyone would think it's a dead man's street. But it was Pang who answered me, because this is White Stone Street in the city. Hearing that, I turned my head to look. I saw a long white cloth banner beside Pang, with a few words scrawled on it in bold strokes. White Stone Street, Dragon City. Seeing that, I felt a bit awkward. Just then, the woman hopped into the gloomy street. Pang chuckled. Tiangao, with that posture, hopping like that on White Stone Street, it really could scare someone to death. I ignored him, following the woman. I stepped onto White Stone Street. As we walked, the female corpse raised its stiff arm, pointing at a building nearby. We'll stay here, following the direction of her finger. I saw a shop-like building before me. Its exterior was as antique as the other shops. I frowned slightly and peered inside. Inside, there seemed to be several machines with lights on, square-shaped, about as tall as a person, and flashy-looking inside. What kind of high-tech is this? Curious. I walked in. As soon as I crossed the threshold, a damp, moldy smell hit me. It was clear he hadn't been able to hold it in for a long time. Machines were placed on both sides of the room. Next to them was a light-up sign, reading 24-hour self-service. I let out a curse right then and there, then ran out with a red face and thick neck. Seeing me bolt out like that, Pang looked curious and asked, Tianji, what's going on in there? Why's your face redder than a monkey's butt after going in? With that, he moved to go in and take a look. I grabbed Pang and pulled him back. The stuff in there, it's not really suitable for a minor like you to see. Pang immediately got upset. What are you saying? You're my younger brother, and you're already an adult. I'm 3 years older than you. With that, he walked in, refusing to believe me. I had no choice but to awkwardly sneak a glance at the lady. Noticed the corners of her mouth seemed to be slightly lifting, but she was trying hard to control it. I was a bit stunned. Wait, besides those things in there, there's no bed either. How are we supposed to stay here? Hearing my words, the curve of the lady's mouth immediately vanished. We'll make do for tonight. Tomorrow, call the owner of this shop. We'll take it over. I felt a bit troubled, but after all, I was a man. Being too shy in front of a lady would be embarrassing. So I made an excuse. Making do is one thing. I don't mind it, but isn't it a bit improper for you? A woman, the lady, however, looked natural. I'm fine with it. At those words, I felt a shiver run through me. But even if you're okay with it, we don't have the money to take over this shop. It's huge inside. Seems like there's even a backyard. That's not something you need to worry about. After the lady said this, Pang walked out with a red face and thick neck. These city folks have no shame, leaving stuff like that out in the open. But the lady was unperturbed. She kicked her legs and jumped into the shop. Then I gave myself a mental pep talk, trying to walk in as naturally as possible. Once inside, I avoided looking at those things and stared straight at the lady. She was already sitting in a spot against the wall, with her eyes tightly shut. Seeing that even a woman like her was so composed, I actually felt less uncomfortable. So I found a seat and sat down too. I actually wanted to ask the lady if she had any plans, how to find my family, what the next step should be, and what good taking over a shop would do. But the lady clearly had no intention of communicating with me. And so, we simply found something to cushion ourselves and fell into a deep sleep. In the middle of the night, I seemed to hear the sound of my squeaking nonstop, but every time I opened the sound would disappear, and the lady's spot was empty. Just as I was about to go out and look for her, she came back, only I noticed her lips were very red. She gave me a cold glance, then sat back down without a word. I had no choice but to go back to sleep. When the next day came, I was woken up by a big man. He used his phone to scan a box from the machine, and as he walked out with the box, he shot me a dirty look. Self-service shops and banks are all damn handy for you beggars. With that, he stepped out the door, but as he walked normally, he tripped out of thin air and fell flat. The man let out a howl. He knew it. Damn it. Seeing beggars means bad luck all day. Hearing him still cursing, the lady suddenly opened her eyes. Seeing this, I quickly patted her on the back. Let it go. Don't bother with words. He'll get his share of bad luck. The lady nodded and looked at me. Call the owner of this place. We're taking over the shop today. We have a lot to handle. If you want to find your family, then get moving. Seeing the lady putting on that fierce face again, I shook my head helplessly and walked out of the shop. The street was filled with the hustle and bustle of voices. After roughly surveying the surroundings, I spotted a supermarket not far away. There was an old landline phone over there. I walked straight over. Maybe I hadn't slept well or something. After a few steps, I unexpectedly collided head-on with a woman. Then a cry rang out. Ouch, don't you watch where you're going. I looked up and saw a woman in her 30s. Her face was full of displeasure. But I was stunned. More black Kai. This is already the second time since entering the city. The woman saw me staring blankly at her face and immediately pushed me away. What are you looking at? After saying that, she turned and trotted off. I wasn't too bothered by this, so I quickly went to the small supermarket and picked up the phone. An old man was sitting inside, around 60 or 70 years old, wearing reading glasses. He glanced at me, then went back to reading his newspaper. Local landline. Household number. I nodded. I pressed a few numbers, the ones left on that machine. Beep. Beep. A waiting tone sounded from the other end. After a long while, just as I thought no one would answer, a man's annoyed voice came through. Who is this, calling at this ungodly hour? Are you sick? Hearing this man's voice, I frowned slightly. Are you the owner of that self-service machine shop? Listen, I'm telling you, everything in my store has passed proper quality inspections. If you break it, that's not our problem. If you want to complain, there's a complaint hotline above. If you're not complaining, then I'm the boss. Speak your piece. I snorted coldly. It's not about the quality of the goods. We've taken a liking to your shop. We'd like to ask about the price. Do you have time to come over? Let's talk. There was a pause on the other end. Then a charming voice came through. Oh my, the god of wealth knocks on my door this early in the morning. I thought it was a prank call. Brother, don't mind me. All right, I nodded. So, are you free now? We're in a bit of a hurry. He immediately replied with a laugh. I'm free, brother. Hold on a moment. I'll drive over right away. My place isn't far from the shop. Wait for me 10 minutes. We'll meet there. No matter what. After hanging up, I was about to leave when the old man suddenly put down his newspaper and looked at me. That shop is very dirty. Everyone on this street knows it. Whoever buys it will regret it hearing the old man's words. I stopped mid-step. The old man folded his newspaper. Back when that shop first opened, it was a place for reading yin and yang. This area is well built, and all the shops here are hotly contested. But that shop changes owners every few days, all because of dirty things. Hearing this, I understood in my heart. So that's how it is. The dirty things the old man mentioned seemed to be related to supernatural incidents. I had been a bit puzzled. Why would White Rock Street have an adult novelty shop? Thinking this, I nodded to the old man. Thanks for the warning, uncle. After saying that, I turned and left. When I returned to the shop, the lady was staring at a compass, examining something. Pang was still sleeping. I walked over to the lady and looked at the compass. What are you looking at? The lady ignored my question and kept studying the compass. Did you make the appointment? It said. He'll be here in about 10 minutes, but the lady frowned slightly. But what? Then I relayed the old man's words to her. I thought she might change her mind, but she just nodded nonchalantly. Then she went back to studying the compass intently. Seeing him like this, I had no choice but to sigh helplessly. In no time at all, a fat man in a suit walked in from outside. He sized up the three of us, a hint of suspicion in his eyes. So, you folks are the ones interested in my shop. I smiled and stepped forward. Hello, boss. Yes. We want to buy this shop. The man saw our disheveled appearance and immediately lost patience. Little brother, I've been busy all day. I'm someone who deals with tens of thousands in a minute. When I heard someone wanted to buy my electricity, I rushed over without a moment's delay. If you're this late, it's pointless. I'm not one to dawdle. It's us who want to buy it, I said. The man sneered. Can you even afford it? Let me tell you. Kid, this street of ours is a prime, heavily protected location. Even a public toilet here costs this much. He used his fat hand to gesture a number. I was stunned. 500. I suddenly remembered. I only had about 500 in my pocket. My face fell. 500. Are you joking with me? He said, turning to leave, as if he didn't want to waste another word on me. I quickly grabbed him. Boss, why are you in such a hurry? Just tell me the price first, and we'll scrape together the money. He immediately pulled his hand away. Let me tell you. Kid, even a toilet here starts at 50,000. A shop this big is 188,000. Not a cent less. Got it? Hearing this, I was completely dumbfounded. Seeing my shock, the man snorted coldly and turned to leave. But just as one foot stepped out, a cold female voice rang out. I'll give you 200,000. Now apologize to him. As soon as I said that, the man immediately pulled his foot back and turned to look at the female corpse. He stared blankly for a long time. Seeing this, I quickly stepped in front of her. Talk if you want to talk, but why are you staring at her like that? The man snapped out of it. Brother, if you can come up with 200,000, forget an apology. I'll not only sell it to you, but I'll throw in a set of rosewood furniture worth 30,000. Hearing this, I felt awkward. 200,000. I don't even have 2,000. How can this lady just blurt that out? She's been sleeping in a coffin for years. How could she have cash on hand? Yet the lady nodded. I don't care about your gift. Just contact a renovation company for us. After saying that, she pushed me aside, then took off a jade green ring from her finger, which looked quite valuable. The man was stunned, then took it. After a couple of glances, he frowned, then tucked his briefcase under his arm and played with it with both hands. He held it up to the sunlight, then breathed on the jade, growing more excited with each move until his face was all smiles. I stood beside him, utterly confused. Had this woman bewitched him? The next second, he suddenly looked up, grinning from ear to ear. Miss, are you sure you want to use this ring to pay for the shop? Seeing his greedy expression, I immediately understood. This ring must be worth a lot. I just didn't know why the lady had something so valuable. Your ring is worth 200,000, the female corpse said, staring hard at the man. Apologize now, and I suggest you do it willingly. Hearing this, the man immediately put on a fawning smile. Miss, you're generous. I'll apologize right away. He then came seriously before me. Brother, my apologies. I was blind and looked down on you. You're no country bumpkins. You're big bosses who don't care about appearances. After saying that, he bowed to me, his face full of sincerity. Then he looked at the lady. Miss, I'm not far from your walnut copy shop. Wait for me. Okay, by the way, take this ring first. With that, he headed straight out. He was in such a hurry because he was excited. His head smacked right into the doorframe, letting out a dull thud. He still wore a smile. A bump is good. A red envelope for opening doors. Smooth sailing all the way. Wait a moment. Everyone, he said. Then trotted out. I watched his figure from inside. He was cheerful even outside, humming a little tune under his breath. I scoffed disdainfully. Is it really that big a deal? I'm just a country boy, and even seeing 200,000 wouldn't get me this worked up. Look at him. But the female corpse slowly shook her head. That ring is worth 500,000. He just pocketed 350,000 for free. Who wouldn't be happy? Hearing this, I whipped my head toward the female corpse, my eyes wide. How much? 500,000. That's enough in our village to marry off a whole bunch of wives. But the woman looked utterly indifferent. She thought about giving earrings worth 200,000, but it seemed she'd left them on the mountain. Trivial worldly possessions. Her words stabbed into my heart like knives. The pain was real. 500,000. Just given away like that. For this rundown adult shop. I cursed under my breath, but dared not say it to her face. Only muttering. Wasteful woman. No sooner had I said it than I flipped into a backflip and slammed onto the floor. I grunted, pointed at her, and was about to speak, but she stared at me, eyes wide, radiating coldness, waiting for my next words. I had no choice but to choke back the curses and swallow them down. I got up sheepishly, walked over to Erpang, and said, Brother, I'm cursed with bad luck, but Erpang stayed silent, his expression strange as he looked around the shop. Looking dead serious, I slapped him. Erpang, I'm talking to you. What's with the deep act? Erpang immediately covered my mouth, his eyes fixed on the ceiling beam. I feel like I've been here before. No, I've been to a place like this. He walked toward the back as he spoke. Seeing him act so spooked, I sat on the floor in exasperation. It's over. It's over. Just got to the city, and that wasteful woman drops 500,000 on a broken shell of a shop. That's bad enough, but now Erpang's gone crazy too. What a curse. What a curse. Half an hour later, I signed the contract and pressed my fingerprint. Watching the signature, that man's smile grew even brighter. Folks, from today, this shop is yours, but let's get one thing straight. It's clearly written in the contract. Page 3, Clause 24. Subclause 2. Once sold, no returns or exchanges for any reason. Erpeng heard that and rushed. You call that getting the bad news out first. You only say it after the contract's signed. He grabbed the contract to find that clause. When he found it, Erpeng and I both yelled, "Crooked merchant." That clause was written in tiny print, tucked away in the page's margin, just to stop us from backing out. This only made me trust that old man from the supermarket more. This shop really must have some problem. But the woman showed no emotion. She looked at the man. "Don't you back out either, or I'll break your legs." The boss still chuckled. "Beat me to death. I won't back out. Don't worry." Folks, this card has the number for renovations. The rest has nothing to do with me. I've got things to do. We'll meet again if fate allows. But it's best we never cross paths. He said that with a pointed tone, then hummed a tune as he walked out. I was already bracing myself for a scolding, but that driver really didn't curse at me. Instead, he just stared at me with a strange look. It's not even Kingaming Festival yet. You're not holding any spirit money. "Oh, I get it, you work there." "Don you." I didn't know how to answer, so I just nodded to brush it off. The driver immediately beamed. "Hey, why didn't you say so?" "Get in. I thought you were up to something," muttering and acting all spooky. Seeing he was willing to take me, a smile instantly spread across my face. I got in, buckled my seatbelt, and the car started moving. Through our conversation, I finally understood why he asked me that earlier. So this Yellow Springs Road 444 was the city's funeral parlor. If any other road had that name, it'd definitely be bad luck. But for a funeral parlor, it actually fit. After about half an hour's drive, we stopped in front of a courtyard gate. Beside it stood a stone tablet, and sure enough, it read Yellow Springs Road 444. The driver unlocked the doors. "Hey, bro, we re here. That LL be $42. Scan or cash?" He pulled out a green QR code. I didn't even have a phone, let alone know what scanning meant. I took some cash from my pocket, then reluctantly handed it. After I got out, the driver sped off. Kicking up dust, a cloud of dirt swirled in the air. I fanned it away with my hand and looked at the courtyard before me. No one was at the entrance. It was just a round archway. I glanced around and walked in. The walls inside looked old, covered in cracks. Ahead, there was a signpost that read claims office and registration office, but I didn't see a single person. I followed the signs, but every room was empty, so I called out, "Is anyone here?" The place was vast and empty. No sooner had I shouted than a strange sound came from afar. I stopped and listened carefully, slowly moving toward the source. The sound seemed to sense something, and it grew slower. I crossed the corridor of the front courtyard, then walked deeper inside. The sound was coming from the room straight ahead. Just as I got close, the sound suddenly stopped. Silence returned. I froze for a moment, looking around. Then I spotted another sign. Temporary morgue. I fell into thought. That sound just now came from the morgue. Could a corpse have come back to life? Or had some animal gotten in? My mind raced with wild guesses. Inside, the strange sound came again. It had a rhythm to it. I walked in slowly. Inside were over a dozen small beds, all covered with white sheets. But one bed was empty, and its sheets seemed to have been pulled off, lying scattered on the floor, just enough to hide what was under the bed. Seeing this, my heart screamed, "This is a damn corpse rising." I quickly scanned the room, but there was nothing except the 10 beds. The temperature was freezing. I shivered uncontrollably. Could it be behind me? With that thought, I slowly turned my head. Nothing was there, just scaring myself. Probably there were only 9 bodies, and one bed was empty. No sooner had that thought crossed my mind, the noise came from under the empty bed. This time, it was loud, and I wasn't sure if it was my imagination, but I saw the white sheet hanging by the bed. Seemed to twitch. I swallowed hard. Must have been my eyes playing tricks. The next second, the sheet moved again. This time, I saw it clearly for real. That sound was still going on. It even seemed to be getting more excited. I steadied my breath and focused my mind. Silently, I fumbled in my pocket for a while. I realized the 3 talismans I had drawn earlier were all used up. Now I only had yellow paper left. I couldn't tell if it was fear or the cold. My fingers trembling slightly, I grabbed a sheet of yellow paper. With the smallest movement, I tore off a strip, then I bit hard into my own finger. Relying on the memory from the book, I used my fingertip to draw a simple corpse-suppressing talisman. After preparing the talisman, I quietly crept closer to where the white cloth was. Standing before the white cloth, I took a deep breath. Whatever was behind that cloth, I was going to hit it with everything I had. Thinking this, gritting my teeth, I yanked the white cloth down. With a rustle, the cloth fell to the ground. My other hand quickly formed a seal, and I slapped the talisman toward whatever was behind the cloth. But the next second, I froze in place, because standing before me was a man in his 40s, wearing glasses. His lower body was covered in blood. His hands were also stained crimson. In his hands, he held a long, large saw, and the teeth of that saw were currently stuck in a person's leg. What are you doing? The man didn't answer. He just stared blankly at me. After a few seconds, he slowly released the saw in his hands. Then he took the yellow paper off his forehead. He stood up. I am sewing up a corpse. Is there a problem? Hearing the man's words, I forced myself to stay calm. I looked again at the corpse on the ground. You're full of crap. Who sews a corpse by sawing through bones? As soon as I said that, the man laughed. This corpse took a massive impact. The bones are severely misaligned. Can T stitch it up like that? Need to saw the bone first, then sew it up. Seeing my look of doubt, he paused. This guy died in a car crash. The coroner finished the autopsy and sent him here. After I sew him up, the family can claim him. Hearing this, I finally understood. So you're a mortician. The man nodded helplessly. You could say that. I let out a long sigh of relief. The man wiped his hands. Are you family of the deceased? Or, I came to find someone and pick up something. Who knew this funeral home would be completely empty? I heard noise from in here, so I followed the sound, and you nearly scared me to death. He looked me up and down, looking for someone to pick something up. I nodded. Hurry up and give it to me. I'll take it and go report back. You can get back to your corpse work. He frowned slightly at my outstretched hand. Then he walked outside. I had no choice but to follow. At first, I thought he was going to get the item for me. If he used some underhanded tricks, he came to the small registration room by the entrance, looked around, found no one there, picked up the phone and dialed. Old you, it's the weekend. No one on duty. You're supposed to be watching the gate. Instead, you're off playing cards again, whatever was said on the other end. The glasses-wearing man nodded. I am on duty today. Someone just barged into the morgue. I was in the middle of sawing bones. He came up and slapped a yellow talisman on me. Said he was here to pick something up. I don't know what he after. Get back here quick. After he hung up, he turned to look at me. His expression had already darkened. I thought you were a family member. Let me tell you. This is an official funeral home. You can just wander in and out. Wait here. Don T go into the morgue again. Seeing him like this, I understood. The way he had treated me earlier was because he thought I was a family member here to claim a body. Now that he knew I wasn't T, his attitude changed completely, so I wasn't happy either. Hey, what's with your attitude? Who do you think you are? Feng Shijiang, acting all high and mighty with me. I only went in because no one was here. The glasses-wearing man gave a cold snort. He turned and went back into the morgue in the small courtyard. Soon after, another piercing scraping sound came from inside. I didn't dare go in again, so I just sat on the small stool by the door and waited. After quite a while, a filthy-looking old man walked in. He was wearing a director's vest. This must be the old you, the glasses-wearing man mentioned. He came in, saw me sitting on the stool, and didn't even ask what I was doing there. He just walked up and slapped me on the shoulder. Then he stared at my face closely. Just like him, too much like him. But these arms and legs are so thin. Haven't you been eating well? I looked at him, confused. Just like who? He didn't answer my question. Instead, he said something that completely stunned my mind. Brother and I meet again today. Truly, fate plays its tricks. From now on, we'll be sworn brothers. I'm over 70 now, a few years older. From today, you'll be my big brother. Hearing this, I stared blankly at the old man, utterly incredulous, seeing no reaction. The old man wasn't angry. Big brother, would you like some tea? I've got some Westlake Longjing here. Let me brew you a cup. With that, he scurried off to prepare it. He went to steep the tea leaves. I still couldn't get used to that title. What the hell is this old man up to? I just turned 18. And now a 70 or 80-year-old calls me big brother. Before long, the old man came running back with the tea. Big brother, sit tight for a bit. I'll go get something for you. Just be patient. All right. With that, he was already heading into the backyard morgue. About 10 minutes later, the old man came back carrying a cloth bag. He handed it to me. Brother, this thing is fragile. Don't drop it. Hold it steady. I took it and was about to open it, but the old man immediately reached out to stop me. Absolutely not. Opening it will ruin it. Just hand it over to her. I nodded. I had no idea what that woman was up to, and why would she know someone in the city? An old man at a funeral parlor. No less. That woman is way too mysterious. I'll have to find a chance to pry some answers out of her. With that thought, I stood up and headed out, but the old man called me back. Brother, hold on a moment. I looked at him impatiently. You're this old already. Don't keep calling me brother. What else do you want? The old man rubbed his hands together. You have to pay for the item. I won't ask for much, 20 or 30,000. Whatever you think is fair. I stared at him, dumbfounded. Pay? That female corpse didn't tell me about this. When the old man heard that, his smile instantly faded. You people from the mystic arts, everything you touch carries karma. How can you take something without settling the debt? That left me completely speechless. So, I forced a smile onto my face, then put my arm around his shoulder. Look, aren't we brothers? How about a discount? The old man nodded seriously. I'll be straightforward too. Lowest I can go is 10,000. Hearing that price, my face stiffened. A moment later, I moved behind him and started massaging his shoulders and back. How about giving me a 75% discount? As soon as I said that, the old man shoved my hand away. He pushed me impatiently toward the door. No, 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 you old miser. Why are you so greedy? Weren't we just talking about being brothers? Don't push me. I'm telling you, I kept arguing, but my body was already being shoved out of the funeral parlor. The old man finally let go of me. Even brothers settle accounts clearly. This item can't be bought for just a few hundred. Go check the villa if you don't believe me. With that, he started closing the funeral parlor door. I quickly stuck my foot in the gap to stop it. The old man sighed helplessly. Are you trying to play tricks on me? Ask around these parts. No one can outstubborn old you, the rascal. The smile on my face didn't fade. Brother, I really need this thing. Do you have any other way? Or I could do some work for you. I may look skinny, but I've got plenty of strength. This was just my last try. If he really refused, I'd have to go back and ask the lady for money. If he used some underhanded tricks, old man Yulai actually stopped his hand from pushing the door, as if thinking something over. After a few seconds, he opened the door again. We re brothers after all. I'll give you a chance. See if you want it. Hearing old man you say this, I nodded repeatedly. Of course I want it. Tell me. What do I need to do? Cast a fortune for me. Hearing this, I was stunned for a moment. That's not impossible, but right now, I might not be able to read deeply enough. I can only help with small matters. Anything too deep might be a bit difficult. Old man Yu waved his hand dismissively. I am not asking for a fortune from you right now. When I need it, I'll come find you. How about that? Hearing this, I felt a flicker of understanding. This old man is quite cunning. Yes, waiting until I've learned well from the female corpse to cast fortunes. By then, every reading will be worth a fortune. This old geezer is playing the long-term investment game with me. Seeing me silent, old man Yu immediately grew displeased. If you don't agree, I really can help you. How could I not agree? Thinking this, I quickly nodded, so old man Yu handed the thing over to me. On the way back, I didn't see a single car. I just walked for a full half hour, until the sky gradually darkened. Suddenly, a harsh sound rang out, and then glaring headlights shone from behind me. I turned to look. The bright headlights slowly dimmed to low beams. Only then did I see clearly. A red sports car was stopped in front of me. The window slowly rolled down. A crisp female voice said, "All right." Hearing that, I immediately walked over. Miss, can you take me to the city? ILLP. Inside the window was a beauty in a red trench coat. Seeing the grime on myself, I quickly lowered my eyes, not daring to look any longer. The red-coated beauty gently brushed her long hair. Get in. Hearing this, I quickly got into the car. Once I was seated, the woman slowly started the engine. She didn't speak the whole time, as if she had something on her mind. Her eyes held a trace of weariness, and she kept touching her nose from time to time. Seeing this, I blinked at her. Miss, sorry, I just came into the city. I haven't had a place to wash up, so I might smell a bit. Hearing this, the woman frowned slightly, then glanced over me from head to toe. Her eyes seemed a bit puzzled. Don't misunderstand. Handsome, I've got a bit of a cold. There's always snot in my nose, so I can smell anything. She said this flatly, then had no desire to talk further. I didn't feel like chatting either. I carefully held the cloth pouch old man you had given me. Soon, the beauty brought me back to the white world. She stopped the car, lit a slim cigarette. I immediately handed her 100. Miss, thank you. A cab would be about 40. Your car is so nice. I'll give you an extra 50. The woman blew out a light puff of smoke. No need. You go on. My home isn't far from here. It was on the way. Hearing this, I quickly pulled my hand back, then smiled as I got out. Miss, you're really a good person. Beautiful and kind-hearted. You'll be blessed. Hearing this, the woman laughed. Thanks for the kind words. You go on. I smiled and waved at her, then turned and walked into the alley. After just a few steps, I saw that the street ahead seemed to be standing, with Fatty and the female corpse. I was about to greet them. Whoosh! I tumbled through the air again and fell to the ground. The cloth bag in my hand also appeared in the female corpse's hand. Hey, are you done or not? You hit me the moment we meet. Do you have any idea how hard I worked to get that thing for you? The female corpse looked down at me from above, beautiful and kind-hearted. After speaking, she turned and walked away mechanically. I froze for a moment. The lady could actually walk, though it was still a bit strange. I stood up speechlessly. Crazy. Someone gave it to me for free, and I just praised them a little. What's wrong with that? Erpang immediately crept up beside me with a sly look. He's jealous. I was slightly stunned, watching the clumsy figure of the lady walking away. Jealous? You're giving me too much credit. He's like a block of ice. How could he care about me? Just a pure freak. Then Erpang followed me as we headed toward the shop. When I reached the door, I froze. The original 24-hour adult store had now completely turned into a fortune-telling yin-yang shop. At that moment, the female corpse sat at the counter reading a book. Very quiet. I walked up. Hey, what should I call you? Up until now, I'd just been calling her female corpse. Anyway, she wasn't human. That was for sure. She only said 2 words. Ying Shuang. I nodded. Miss Ying, we came to the city this time to find my family, and also to avenge Erpang. Does setting up this yin-yang hall help us at all? She didn't even lift her head. Reading her book, she coldly replied with this one sentence. What does it have to do with me? I was instantly speechless. After all, what she said was true. Our own grudges really had nothing to do with her. Forget it. Whatever. Tomorrow I'll start asking around for traces of Grandpa, and the others. Besides, the divination I did before coming to the city said there would be a turning point here. Now I just have to wait for that turning point to appear. No use rushing. The next day, it was almost noon before I woke up. As soon as I entered the main hall, I saw an old woman with a face full of worry. I walked up. "Elder, what's the matter?" When the old woman saw me, she suddenly knelt down in front of me. I was completely stunned. I quickly told the old woman to get up first. Then the old woman sat back in her chair. My daughter is an older single woman. A few months ago, she met a man through a blind date. They fell in love at first sight, but after my daughter got pregnant, she mysteriously disappeared. My daughter refused to abort the child. I had no choice but to let her be. Now she's been pregnant for 11 months, and there's still no sign of the baby being born. Even the doctors have never seen anything so strange. They decided to do a C-section, but my daughter went crazy and threatened us with a knife. She'd rather die than let them operate. She said the child hasn't grown up yet and must stay in her belly. You have to save my daughter. She must be haunted by a little ghost. Listening to her story, I fell into thought. I saw light in the old woman's fate palace, which should be a sign of unexpected wealth coming, and her children's palace showed no fluctuation. This meant no new family member would be added. So I looked at the old woman in confusion. "Why do you think your daughter encountered a little ghost?" A ragged Taoist told me. Hearing this, I was stunned. That Taoist again. Can't he just leave me alone? Thinking this, I looked back at the old woman. "Since a Taoist told you that, why didn't you let him handle it directly?" The old woman shook her head. "He said he couldn't handle it. This little ghost is very powerful. I had to come to you." I was stunned again. I turned to look at Xianxia, but to my surprise, Xianxia decisively took the job. I felt helpless too. Then I told the old lady to wait outside. After that, I walked up to Xianxia and said, "Are you sick or something? This must be that Taoist doing again. He was the one who brought this case. Why did you take it?" Xianxia lifted her head to look at me. Her cold, sharp eyes slowly swept over me. "Are you yelling at me?" I knew exactly what that look meant. Next step, I'd be flipping on the spot, then crashing to the ground. Fine. You're tough. Just wait till I catch up to you. I'll beat you till you cry with that." I turned and walked away. "The day I surpass you, I'll personally torment you to death. 30 years east of the river. 30 years west. Don't bully a young man in poverty." Faced with my passionate oath, the female corpse simply placed the book on the table. Then she started cracking her joints. "I like men with spine. Come on, let me see just how tough my big man really is." Seeing that, I turned and bolted up to the second floor. Cursing, I packed up the yellow paper and other supplies. "Outrageous. Sooner or later, I'll whip you into shape. I'll even drip wax on you. I'll make you cry." My voice woke Pang right up. "Early in the morning. Can't a man get some sleep?" "Sleep? My ass. Get up and work." With that, I dragged Pang out of bed and out the door. Then I took the old lady to the hospital. When we reached the hospital entrance, I spotted a massive black Kai at a window on the 5th floor. It was yin energy swirling around, not good. I immediately rushed inside. Soon, I reached the 5th floor ward. Chaos erupted from inside. Seeing this, I shoved the door open. A pregnant woman was gripping the window handle. Her belly had turned a dark purple. 5 or 6 medical staff were trying to calm her. "Miss, at that moment, please don't do anything foolish. We're not going to operate on you. We're just checking to see if the baby is healthy." But the woman screamed wildly. "Don't push me." Hearing this, "Don't push me." The more she screamed, the darker her belly grew. It looked like it could burst at any moment. I stood frozen in place, because what I saw was different from everyone else. That belly wasn't just terrifying. A massive black Kai was coiled around it, and inside the belly wasn't some little ghost. It was a yin spirit. The kind of entity is far higher in rank than a ghost. This was going to be tough. Right now, the mother's body couldn't handle the yin spirit's energy. That naturally disrupted her magnetic field. The magnetic field then affected her emotions, driving her to extreme actions. I quickly stepped into the next pregnant woman's ward. Thinking this, I grabbed a copper bell toy from inside. But in that brief moment, the woman had already swung one leg out. She stood on the outer windowsill. I'm so tired. I just want to die." Just then, a crisp ringing of a copper bell sounded. Hearing that sound, the woman on the windowsill suddenly went still. Her gaze fell on the doorway. I stood there, holding the bell high with one hand. I actually had a copper bell in my bag too, but that one was for suppressing evil, a kind of ritual tool. It wouldn't be friendly to the yin spirit in her belly. The bell in my hand, though, was the kind kids play with. After all, the yin spirit was still a child. It had already opened its 7 orifices in the womb to something like this interesting toy. It would be curious. Just then, Pang and the old lady finally arrived. Seeing the commotion in the ward, the old lady quickly caught on. She rushed to her daughter. "Xiaofeng, what are you up to again? I told you. We're not doing surgery. Come down now." But that movement startled the yin spirit again. The belly flushed red once more. His stomach turned red again. Her skin was stretched taut. Bulging. "Don't come any closer. Take one more step, and I'll jump right now." The old lady heard this and quickly turned to look at my young master. "Please act now, I beg you." Yet that address angered the spirit inside. The woman actually lifted her foot and stepped out. Now both feet were on the windowsill outside, and she could fall at any moment. Seeing this, I immediately shook my head at the old lady. From now on, Call me Zio gang. No one make a sound. The old lady didn't know why, but she nodded anyway. The medical staff also watched me in silence. Then I shook the copper bell a few more times. Steady the spirit in your womb. I'm your distant cousin, the grandson of your aunt's sister's family. The woman's face showed a puzzled expression, as if trying to figure out that relationship. I waved my hand. No need to calculate. I'm your cousin. Hearing that my cousin was pregnant, I naturally had to come see you. As I spoke, I shook the copper bell a few more times. The next second, Zio Fang's tightly furrowed brow slowly relaxed. Cousin, thank you so much for coming to see me. You must be tired from the journey. Then she looked at the old lady. Mom, what are you standing there for? Pour your cousin a drink of water. Seeing this, everyone present was dumbfounded, staring blankly at me and Zio Fang. The old lady also snapped out of her shock. I'll get your cousin a drink right away. Daughter, why don't you come down first? Everyone turned to look at Zio Fang again. I stared at that belly without speaking. It began to redden again. I gently shook the copper bell once more. Sure enough, the belly returned to normal. Zio Fang pulled her leg back in herself. Then, barefoot, she stepped onto the windowsill. Cousin, this is a bit inconvenient. Could you come help me down? I quickly went to grab a chair from the side. Under everyone's nervous gaze, I set the stool down. Zio Fang immediately broke into a smile. Cousin, hold your cousin steady. I'm coming down. As she spoke, she reached out toward me. I raised my hand to catch her. When our hands touched, the belly shifted again. I quickly twisted the copper bell to steady the spirit. Then, under everyone's watch, Zio Fang slowly stepped from the windowsill onto the stool. And then, leaning on me, came down to the floor. Once down, she tightly grabbed my hand. Cousin, are you a relative from our Jinyang County? You look a bit like Uncle Grandpa's child. I didn't know how to bluff my way through, so I looked at the old lady. The old lady quickly came to my side. Your Uncle Grandpa had no children. How could he have a kid? He's from your aunt's side, your aunt's relative. Zio Fang nodded. Then let's go home quickly. Cousin, coming from so far away, I haven't even cooked you a meal yet. Hearing this, the medical staff immediately tensed up. I signaled them with my eyes to leave at once, then looked at Zio Fang. No problem. We'll go home now. Seeing this, the medical staff could only sigh and leave the ward. Then Zio Fang looked at Erpeng. Who is he? Erpeng stammered. I might probably also be. Before he could get the word cousin out, I cut in first. He's the village idiot, the one who eats his own snot every day. Zio Fang frowned slightly. The village idiot. My memory is getting worse and worse. I've forgotten a lot of childhood things, but I think there was an idiot. Erpang's face instantly changed, his eyes looking like they could kill me, but knowing the situation was delicate. He couldn't say much, so he just kept packing in silence. Soon we had everything packed. It arrived at the old lady's apartment building. It was a staff dormitory for some work unit. Looking at the scene before me, I quickly understood where the problem lay. The Feng Shui here was a place of great misfortune, with extremely heavy yin energy. Zio Fang saw my furrowed brow. I was a bit puzzled why my cousin wasn't going in. I let out a long sigh. If you have the means, you should find another place to live. Staying here will bring bad luck. My cousin immediately took my hand and pulled me inside. I thought you were looking down on your cousin's home. Though superstitious at such a young age, what does luck have to do with where you live? Soon, she dragged me to the entrance of building 2. I stopped again. I looked toward the spot on the first floor that drew my attention. Black mist swirled around it. The entire compound's giant infant locust was right here. Zio Fang looked at me again. Helplessly, I pinched the bridge of my nose. Cousin, you live in the right side unit on the first floor. Don't you? Hearing this, Zio Fang's face lit up. Cousin, you're amazing. How did you guess that? Looking at her expression, I couldn't bring myself to smile at her. The more I thought about this, the more wrong it felt. How could it be such a coincidence? Clearly, someone had orchestrated this deliberately. Just when Zio Fang needed to find a man to marry, an outstanding man appeared. The yin spirit needed a medium, and Zio Fang happened to be plagued by bad luck. The yin spirit needed baleful Kai to nourish it, and this staff dormitory just happened to be the giant infant site. Everything was too coincidental. I glanced at Zio Fang, then helplessly walked into the house. As soon as we entered, Zio Fang rushed into the kitchen to cook. Seeing this, the old lady grew anxious. You're pregnant, let me do the cooking. But Zio Fang shook her head. I'm not that delicate, sighed from feeling a bit heavy in the belly. I don't feel anything at all. Don't worry about me. You entertain cousin, and the others I'll be quick. The old lady was naturally uneasy, but I held her back. Let cousin do it. She'll be fine. That thing in her belly needs 15 months. Right now, she's in the middle of the pregnancy. The perfect time to be active. Hearing this, Erpeng looked astonished. No wonder I saw her walking and talking. She didn't seem strained at all. She even climbed onto the windowsill by herself. She doesn't look like a woman about to give birth. Tiangang, what the hell is going on? The old lady also stared at me urgently. Seeing this, my expression turned serious. Someone is setting up a scheme. The man Zio Fang found has a huge problem. This yin spirit, he likely planted it deliberately. Then I briefly explained everything I knew about yin spirits from the book. After hearing it, Erpeng and the old lady furrowed their brows. The old lady was more filled with worry and hatred, so she stayed silent. Then Erpeng looked at me. So once it's born, will everything be fine? I let out a sigh. The moment this yin spirit is born, is the moment the mother dies. As soon as those words were spoken, the old lady shot up from her seat, her whole body trembling. Then what do we do? With that, the old lady burst into tears. Before I could speak, Xiaofeng walked out of the kitchen, looking at us in confusion. Then she saw her mother, crying like a rain-soaked figure. Mom, what are you crying about now? Cousin's here, we should be happy. Quick, wipe your tears. She handed a tissue to the old lady. The old lady, eyes red, looked at Xiaofeng and silently wiped her own tears. Seeing this, I turned to Xiaofeng. Cousin, an old acquaintance from the village passed away. Auntie got a bit emotional hearing about it, don't worry. I'll comfort her. Hearing me say that, Xiaofeng's expression returned to normal. Oh, my mom is something else. Birth, aging, sickness, death, aren't they all normal? Living forever would make you a monster. With that, she went back into the kitchen. The living room fell silent again. Erpang looked at me. Brother Tian, can you help? Look how pitiful Sister Fang is. Her first love. And she runs into such a bastard. Now she's going to lose her life. Think of something. Quick, think of a way. Quick, the old woman looked at me. Xiaofeng, with pleading eyes, if you have any difficulties, just say so, whatever you need. I'll make it happen. I only beg you to save my daughter. Xiaofeng, I immediately patted the old woman on the shoulder. First, let me finish speaking. Only by understanding how this vengeful spirit formed can we cooperate well. Otherwise, if this spirit keeps causing trouble, before I can even think of a solution, it will drive the host to jump off a building. Then everything will be for nothing. One Tiet, the old woman and Erpang both nodded in agreement, listening attentively on the side. At the very beginning, the vengeful spirit will feed on the host's vital energy. Later, as the host's primordial spirit gradually weakens, the spirit will start to drain the vital energy of those close to the host. Erpang was taken aback. This spirit is so ruthless, harming Sister Fang and even her family. The old woman was also stunned, but they both knew to let me finish first. I nodded. So this thing absolutely cannot be kept, but none of you can tell Xiaofeng. Otherwise, the spirit will lead her to do terrible things, so you must always speak positively about the child. So at 1T torment the host. Understood. Erpang and the old woman both nodded. After settling this point, I finally revealed the method of removal. To eliminate this vengeful spirit, we must first find that man, but since conventional methods can locate him, we'll have to use the arts of the mystic gate. As I spoke, I looked at the old woman. I need Xiaofeng's blood and hair. And also when I got to this point, my peripheral vision suddenly caught a head peeking out from the kitchen doorway. Xiaofeng, at some unknown time, was standing at the kitchen entrance, a strange smile on her face as she stared at me. I was so startled, I fell flat on the ground. My sudden movement also startled the old woman and Erpang. I pointed at Xiaofeng by the kitchen door. What are you doing? Xiaofeng, still smiling, slowly stepped out, a kitchen knife in her hand, walking toward us step by step. I instinctively backed away, but the old woman stepped in front of me. Xiaofeng, Don T get worked up. I brought Xiaofeng here. Don T hurt him, yet Xiaofeng's smile didn't fade. She slowly raised the knife. The old woman closed her eyes. Erpang and I exchanged a glance, ready to lunge at her, and Xiaofeng suddenly looked confused. What else with all the reactions? As soon as those words were spoken, all three of us froze. The old woman opened her eyes, then looked at her daughter warily. Are you okay? Xiaofeng shook her head. Why wouldn't Ti be? Seeing her so normal, the old woman quickly grabbed Xiaofeng's hand holding the knife. Then why did you come out with a knife? Her tone carried a hint of reproach. Xiaofeng spread her hands. I was chopping vegetables inside. Otherwise, what would we use for the medicine? Acting all spooky like this, I'll have to find a shaman to check you out. Erpang let out a long sigh. Sister Fang, you popping your head out like that, who wouldn't be scared? Hearing this, Xiaofeng immediately laughed. You village boys are such cowards. I heard your voices getting quieter, so I got curious and eavesdropped. The word eavesdropped made our faces instantly stiffen. I probed with my mind. So what did you hear? Xiaofeng thought for a moment. I heard my cousin asking for something. I only listened for a second, and then he spotted me. What do you need? She looked at me with a puzzled expression. I rubbed my nose, a smile on my face. I was hoping for another dish. You know that one from our hometown, what is it called? It is especially delicious. What was the name again? I shot a pleading look at the old woman. Before she could answer, Xiaofeng laughed. You little glutton, is that pickled cabbage and vermicelli? Oh, right. That's it, pickled cabbage and vermicelli. That flavor is absolutely incredible. That's exactly what I want to eat. Then you two wait here. I'll go show you my skills. With that, she walked straight into the kitchen without another word. I gave a helpless smile. Just as I was about to speak, I noticed the old lady's expression wasn't quite right. What are you thinking about? Old lady, she turned her head toward me, lowering her voice to a whisper. I feel like we messed up. Erpang and I looked at her, puzzled. Why? Because there's no pickled cabbage and vermicelli in our hometown. Hearing that, I immediately fell into deep thought. I'd been thinking that as long as I went along with what she said, there wouldn't be any problem. But why did she mention a dish that doesn't exist? Could it be that he heard everything? And if he did hear it, why didn't he go crazy or cause a scene? Thinking this, I let out a sigh. I leaned my mouth close to the old lady's ear. The last item is Xiaofeng's clothes, and they have to be worn. Unwashed ones. Hearing this, the old lady's face showed a hint of embarrassment. Then I'll go look in the bathroom. With that, she stood up and went into the bathroom. After a while, Xiaofeng brought the dishes to the living room. Erpeng and I felt our mouths instantly start watering. Xiaofeng looked at us and gave a helpless smile. All right, you two gluttons. Go get your own chopsticks from the kitchen. I'm going to make the pickled cabbage and vermicelli. It'll be ready soon. With that, Xiaofeng went into the kitchen. Now look at Erpeng and me. We both reached out at the same time toward the dish. On the plate, we didn't take too much. Each of us grabbed a piece of tofu and put it in our mouths. Then we both said the same thing. Delicious. Why are you copying me? You're the one copying me. Erpeng and I both turned away in disgust. He sat down to wait, and I headed to the kitchen. This kitchen was laid out in a long, narrow shape with Xiaofeng's big belly. She took up the whole aisle, but the chopsticks were inside. I looked at cousin Xiaofeng with an awkward expression. I need to get past you. Could you move forward a bit? Xiaofeng was busy working. She moved forward just a little, but the gap in the aisle still wasn't enough to get through. Could you move forward a bit more? Xiaofeng looked at me with displeasure. Just squeeze through. It'll be fine. I'm busy here. I don't have time for you. With that, she went back to her work. I shook my head helplessly. I turned sideways and squeezed past. In that moment of passing, I felt Xiaofeng's hip. My brow furrowed involuntarily. Her hip was very hard, like some kind of plastic or metal object. How could a person's hip feel like that? I turned to look at Xiaofeng. Her expression showed no sign of anything unusual. With doubts in my mind, I grabbed 4 pairs of chopsticks. Then, pretending not to care, I asked her, Cousin, your body feels very stiff. Are you feeling unwell somewhere? But the kitchen noise was loud. Xiaofeng seemed not to hear my question. I had no choice but to drop it. I squeezed past again. The same sensation. So I decided to ask one more time. Just then, the old lady was in the living room, frantically waving at me. Seeing this, I immediately went back to the living room. The old lady pulled me aside. Then she stuffed a short-sleeved shirt into my pocket. We've been at the hospital lately, so there's nothing she's worn recently at home. But this, she wore it when she was 2 months pregnant. This should work too. Right, under the staff's escort. Then I looked at the old lady. Why is Xiaofeng's body so stiff? Haven't you had it checked? At that, the old lady shook her head. No, not really, other than her big belly and her frequent fits of madness. There's nothing else wrong. It seemed the old lady didn't know either. So there are 2 possibilities here. First, the old lady might not have noticed. Second, it wasn't like this before. It only started recently. Second, it wasn't like this in a past life. It only started recently. Although I find it strange, I don't think the spirit is related to this, because there's no record of it in the books. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Soon, the second dish was ready. Xiaofeng brought it out, her face also showing discomfort. They say pregnancy makes you forgetful for 3 years. I've really gone dumb. I thought for a long time and still couldn't remember how to make pickled cabbage with vermicelli. Just make do with what's here. If it's not enough, eat more of the other dishes. Erpeng couldn't wait any longer. No problem. No problem. We're easy to please. This dish smells delicious. Sister Feng, is there any rice? Yes, I'll get it, Xiaofeng said as she started to stand up. But the old lady beat her to it. Let me, you two eat first. Only then did Xiaofeng sit back down. But after a few bites, we noticed Xiaofeng wasn't touching her chopsticks. She just sat there watching me and Erpeng. I looked at her, puzzled. Aren't you eating? Eat too. Xiaofeng shook her head. I can't eat this. You two go ahead. Hearing this, I was completely baffled. Just then, the old lady came out with the rice, handing it to me and Erpeng. She only eats fruit. It's been 4 or 5 months now, and she won't eat anything else. At that, I frowned again. What does that mean? Can a person survive without grains? Fruit only has vitamins. That's not enough to sustain the body. Over time, she'd fall ill. So I looked at Xiaofeng. That won't do, cousin. This isn't good for the baby either. You need to eat more nutritious food. Xiaofeng picked up an apple and took a bite. I want to eat too, but as soon as I do, I feel like throwing up. At least I can eat more fruit, so my body's still okay. This question was clearly beyond my knowledge. I didn't know what was going on, so I didn't bring it up again during the meal. Erpeng and I ate a lot. After we were completely full, we both looked satisfied. Now it was time for the real business. I needed a separate room to perform a technique I'd never used before. Chaotic thought tracking. This is a very orthodox Taoist method. It uses items related to the target to track their whereabouts. After collecting the other 2 items, I signaled the old lady to distract Xiaofeng. The old lady cooperated and sent Xiaofeng to the bedroom to sleep. Meanwhile, Erpeng and I were arranged to stay in Xiaofeng's brother's room. Then I spread a layer of yellow paper on the bed. Erpeng couldn't help, so he just stood aside watching me. I took a compass out of my backpack, then placed a toothpick in the center. I also took out a stack of yellow paper, tore it into strips, and set them aside behind me. Next, I lit 2 white candles on the yellow paper on the bed using a lighter. Everything was ready, except for one thing. No glutinous rice. Then I looked at Erpeng, who was standing there dazed. Go to the kitchen and find some glutinous rice. Just a small bowl will do. Erpeng rolled his eyes at me. You always boss me around, but his body honestly walked out. After Erpeng left, I took out the prepared hair and tissue paper, placing them on the yellow paper. Then I pulled the short-sleeved shirt from my pocket. Just as I was about to put the shirt on the yellow paper, Xiaofeng's voice came from outside the room. Cousin, are you asleep? I found you a new blanket. My brother's blanket hasn't been used in a while, so it's a bit damp as her voice grew closer. I panicked, with all the stuff laid out on the bed. Even a fool could see what I was up to. If the spirit found out, it would likely cause more trouble. So I yanked the blanket open, blew out the candle, and hid completely under the covers. The door wasn't closed. Looks like he is still awake. Then I come in, Xiaofeng said, and walked in carrying a summer quilt. I have to go to Starfire University for the assessment in 2 days. Suddenly remembering she still had someone's clothes in her hand, she quickly stuffed them into her shirt pocket. Xiaofeng walked up to me, looked at my unnatural expression, and asked with concern, Cousin, are you feeling unwell? You don't look so good. I forced a dry laugh. No, not at all. Xiaofeng looked down at the blanket on the bed, set down the summer quilt, and reached out to take the blanket away. These are all thick blankets. Let me swap them for you. I stepped forward and grabbed her hand. No, cousin. I'll just use this one. She insisted on lifting the blanket. It is so hot. Why are you doing this? You at my place. No need to be polite. This blanket is clean. No one else ever used it. I quickly plopped down on it. Really? No need. Cousin, I am naturally afraid of the cold. My body is weak if I use something too thin. I'll get sick. Xiaofeng stared at me for a few seconds. All right, you're so stubborn. Just like my brother. Then get some rest. I'll head out. I thought I'd managed to brush her off just like that. She had already turned around. Just then, when suddenly that short-sleeved shirt fell out of my pocket, landing right at Xiaofeng's feet. Xiaofeng looked at the thing on the ground, chuckled, then raised her head to look at me, her gaze gradually turning strange. Cousin, with a hobby like this, if your body is weak, it might not have anything to do with what you do. Just remember to show some restraint. You rest now. With that, she quickly walked out. Hearing this, I finally snapped out of it. Cousin, don't misunderstand. This is Xiaofeng actually stop. What am I misunderstanding? Go ahead. Say it. I looked at the yin spirit in her belly, completely at a loss for how to make something up. I am just a pervert. Xiaofeng forced a faint smile. All right, I am not mad either. I'll keep an eye out and help you find a girlfriend. But you need to restrain yourself, or you'll wear yourself out. And the girl might end up looking down on you. With that, she walked completely out of the room, and I stood there, feeling like I'd eaten crap. Worn out, the girl will look down on you. I am not mad either. It has nothing to do with covering yourself with a blanket. 3 sentences, and I was completely shattered. Fine. I am a pervert. Yingshuang, is this the job you made me come do? My lifelong innocence. Just then, Erpeng walked in, holding a small bowl filled with glutinous rice. Hey, is this enough? I punched him right in the gut. You fat bastard, why didn't you lock the door when you left? Xiaofeng just came in. You know that? Erpeng froze. She came in, she didn't find anything. Did she? If I hadn't been quick enough to cover it up. I grumpily took the glutinous rice, then lifted the blanket and placed the rice in the middle, lit the candle again, and with my other hand picked up a sheet of yellow paper. I held it between 2 fingers and pointed forward. The yellow paper caught fire from the candle. Then I formed a hand seal with both hands and pressed it to my chest, chanting, "By this object, seek the gold and guide the path." The compass clears. As the tracking spell words fell, the glutinous rice in front of me burst out in all directions. Then Xiaofeng's hair began to stir slightly, and the toothpick placed on the compass started spinning rapidly. I watched the yellow paper in my hand, about to burn to ashes, and my expression grew serious. It's really not working, with just Xiaofeng's hair. I can find that man. I held on a little longer, but the toothpick just kept spinning, without stopping at all. Sweat beaded on my forehead. Finally, I released the hand seal, and the toothpick immediately stopped. Motionless, Erpeng looked at me with a look of utter amazement. If we took this trick to the market bridge, we could make a pretty penny. Should be able to earn quite a bit. I ignored Erpeng's nonsense. I immediately formed another hand seal. Then I fixed my gaze on another bloodstained tissue. I lit the yellow paper again and made a hand seal. As the flames burned, the sticky rice scattered out again, and the toothpick spun once more, but it still didn't stop. Erpeng had no idea what was going on. He just stood there like an idiot, even clapping. This time, I didn't hold out for long. I stopped the hand seal. I threw the hair and the tissue into the trash can. I let out a long sigh. Was I really going to have to rely on that after all? I placed the short-sleeved shirt in the middle. I repeated the same motions again. This time was different from before. The yellow paper had just been lit. Suddenly, a strong wind rose from nowhere, sweeping through the area. The yellow paper on the bed rustled loudly. Erpeng was so scared he took 2 steps back. I immediately focused my energy and said, Don't move. Pang froze in place. The next second, the toothpick stopped directly at the southwest position and didn't budge. Then, the sticky rice in the bowl began to jump out in a regular pattern. The path it took was all aimed in the direction the toothpick was pointing. Just then, Xiao Fang's scream came from outside the room. Listening to the commotion outside, Xiao Fang didn't know what was happening. She only screamed once and then went silent. It seemed the old lady had gone to check. 2.5 minutes later, the sticky rice had completely stopped moving. The wind around us vanished instantly. I let out a long breath. I withdrew my hand seal. I immediately looked at Pang, who was still dazed, and asked, how many grains of sticky rice came out from the southwest? How many grains of sticky rice came out from the southwest? Pang looked at me reluctantly. What? Do I look that bored to you, counting grains of rice for fun? I ignored him. I tucked the short-sleeved shirt into my clothes. Then I went to the living room. No one was there. It seemed there was some noise coming from Xiao Fang's room. I strode over quickly. I happened to hear the old lady's anxious voice. 120. The signal's very bad. Hurry up and send an ambulance. Hearing this, I panicked. I pushed the door open and walked straight in. I saw Xiao Fang sitting on the floor. She was wearing a loose nightgown, and there was a small pool of blood beneath her. I stepped forward and snatched the phone from the old lady. Sorry, you dialed wrong, I said, and hung up. Seeing this, the old lady looked at me anxiously. Xiao Gang, what are you doing? My daughter is bleeding. Take her to the hospital. My son can't get away right now. If we take a taxi, it'll be too late. I stepped forward and grabbed the old lady's arm. With force in my hand, I stared into her eyes. A normal pregnancy is 15 months. She's not even close to that yet. How could she be giving birth? She's not even close to that yet. How could she be giving birth? This is just a normal detox, isn't it? Auntie, the old lady, who had been panicked, suddenly froze. She glanced at her daughter sitting on the floor. Gradually, she calmed down. Just then, Xiao Fang smiled. It's my cousin after all. I told him just now. But he wouldn't listen. He insisted on going to the hospital. How many days has it been? This is all normal. I let go of the old lady and looked at Xiao Fang. You should understand too. The old lady is just too worried about you. All right, cousin. Help me to the bathroom. I need to freshen up. Xiao Fang said this and started to stand up. I stepped forward with a smile on my face, but my eyes were fixed on her belly. This spirit was no ordinary spirit. It was incredibly powerful. It must have sensed the Dao energy fluctuation just now. It was startled. It wanted someone to take it to another safe place. After I helped Xiao Fang to the bathroom, I went back to the old lady. Old lady, you've always trusted me. Tell me, you've tried all the conventional hospital methods. Haven't you? They couldn't handle it, unless you want to just leave this spirit alone. Watch your daughter die. Otherwise, you'll have to listen to me. You have no other choice. Understand? Hearing this, the old woman suddenly seemed to age many years. He nodded. Did you find any trace of that man? Just as he finished speaking, Pang walked out from the inner room. He was holding a handful of rice in his hand. He opened his mouth to speak. I immediately signaled him with my eyes. Only then did Pang change his words. Is everything all right in the room? The old woman shook her head without speaking. I looked at the old woman, lowering my voice to the barest whisper. We're going out now to find that man. The method to break the spirit's hold is with me. Before we return, you and he absolutely cannot leave the house. If Xiao Fang gets emotionally unstable, just gently shake that bronze bell. The old woman looked at the toy on the sofa. Her eyes instantly grew moist. Then she tightly grasped my hand. Xiaogeng, this old woman is counting entirely on you. You absolutely must help us handle this. I nodded solemnly. Then I gave Pang a meaningful glance. We left Xiaofeng's house together. When we reached the doorway, I stopped in my tracks. I took out cinnabar from my backpack and drew a simple talisman on the wall. Only then did I walk out with Pang. We left the residential area all the way. I looked at Pang. How many grains? Should be 121 grains. I immediately did the math in my head. 1 grain per 100 meters. 1 kilometer is 10 grains. 100 grains is 10 kilometers. So it comes out to about 12 kilometers. That 100 meters is negligible. It's probably nearby. Just find a place 12 kilometers to the southwest. Just then, a taxi pulled up. We both got in immediately. Driver, start from here. What's about 12 kilometers southwest of here? The driver thought for a moment. That's the Wuxia Mountain scenic area. My eyes lit up. Let's go there half an hour later. The taxi stopped at the entrance of Wuxia Mountain scenic area. After getting out, I looked ahead. This was an old scenic area that had been developed for a long time. You could tell just from the ticket booth. Large patches of wall paint had peeled off. Round it were many stalls selling grilled sausages, ice cream, and other snacks. Further in, I could see Wuxia Mountain in the distance, but I let out a slight chuckle. Wasn't this the mountain behind Xiaofeng's house? The one that seemed so far away? I had thought back then that the mountain's position was troublesome. It sat right in the middle, disrupting many feng shui patterns, and it was right at the center of the entire city. In fact, this mountain was affecting the feng shui of the whole city. How could such a mountain exist here? Thinking this, I led Erpang and started walking in. Just then, pregnant woman dressed very luxuriously caught my attention. She was accompanied by a man and a woman. The reason I noticed them was because I recognized the man. He was Feng Shijiang from the Xianxia funeral home. He was also wearing a smiling expression as he stroked the woman's belly. "Mom, let's bring Xiaoyu for a walk. It's good for the baby. The air is nice too." Hearing this, I was instantly amused. This woman looked at most in her early 30s. Not even 40, and she was already a mother-in-law. That struck me as very strange. The young mother-in-law also smiled and nodded. Just as the man was about to enter the gate, he looked up and spotted me. Seeing me watching him, a flicker of surprise showed in his eyes, but then he turned his head and continued supporting the pregnant one, without any intention of speaking to me. So I stopped looking at him and continued walking further in. At the front of the scenic area, there was a passage, enclosed by iron railings, but since today was a weekday, there weren't many tourists, so we started queuing at the side. As luck would have it, this Feng Shijiang and his family were right behind us, but I caught a foul smell. This smell, when I met that Feng Shijiang earlier, I smelled it too, but that was in the morgue. A stench there is normal. Why is it here? I turned to look at that man. Could it be that this guy spends all his time in the morgue, and his body has been soaked in the stench of death? Seeing me turn to look at them, the pregnant woman immediately looked puzzled. "Is something wrong?" Xiaofeng walked out of the kitchen. Erpang sniffed the air around him. "Who farted? It stinks so bad. Have some decency. Farting in public." As soon as those words were spoken, that man and his family all looked displeased, because there were only two groups of people here. The ones ahead were going through security. If it wasn't them, it was us. The pregnant woman glared angrily at Erpang. "Hey, fatty, what are you saying? Who are you calling a farter?" Erpang was taken aback. He turned his head in confusion. "I wasn't talking about you. Why are you getting so worked up? Unless you were the one who farted." Hearing this, the woman grew even more furious. "You're the one who farted. I bet it's only a fat guy like you who could fart that stinky." Erpang had a quick temper too. He flared up instantly. "This woman is like a mad dog. I wasn't even talking about you. So why are you jumping down my throat? If you weren't pregnant, I'd slap you." I swear in just that moment, people had lined up behind the woman's family, all watching the commotion. Seeing Erpang so aggressive, Feng Shijiang finally couldn't hold back. "Brother, since you know my wife is pregnant, her emotions are naturally unstable. You should be more considerate. Scaring her like this, if something really happens, can you take responsibility?" As soon as those words were spoken, the people around nodded in agreement. "Yeah, this fatty is going too far. After all, she's a pregnant woman." Seeing this, I quickly turned to smooth things. "Oh, I just recognized you. Aren't you the guy from the funeral home?" As soon as those words were spoken, for some reason, the pregnant woman and the woman beside her both looked amused. Feng Shijiang immediately frowned. "What funeral home? Who do you think you are? Are you and this fatty here to cause trouble together?" "Everyone, look, these two men are bullying my wife. My wife is pregnant and just came out for some fresh air. And these two men are harassing her in every way." I frowned at this. He was denying it. There had to be something wrong. I didn't know what it was yet, but this was leverage. I grabbed the man's hand and pulled him away from the crowd. "Don't make me bring up what you do in the morgue. This was just a small matter. Don't go looking for trouble." Hearing this, he instantly fell silent. Then I looked at his face, and when I did, I froze for a moment. I saw that he had hidden his own life palace. Something was off. Feng Shijiang, though considered part of our trade, had no real Taoist skill. He was just a lowly yin practitioner. After a while, the man turned to the crowd behind him and laughed. This is all a misunderstanding. I stepped in a stinky ditch yesterday and forgot to change my shoes. Just a little misunderstanding. Everyone, please disperse. Sorry for the trouble." Sorry. He raised his hands, looking very sincere. The crowd was puzzled. Why had he changed his tune so suddenly, after being so stubborn just moments ago? But since the parties involved didn't care anymore, they lost interest too. They gave him a dismissive glance. But the man's wife wasn't happy. She slapped him on his broad chest. "What are you doing? They called you stinky. Why are you letting them off?" Though her voice was very low, I still heard it. I looked solemnly at the pregnant woman's mother. She stared back at me with a strange look, not saying a word the entire time. At that moment, the staff member's voice rang out from behind. Come on, stop causing trouble. Buy your tickets." Seeing this, I pulled Erpang over to the ticket booth. Soon, Erpang and I entered the scenic area. I dragged him to a secluded spot. Erpang was already fuming. Seeing that no one else was around, he glared at my brother Tian resentfully. "Why didn't you let me make a move just now? That pregnant woman can't be touched. Then can I deal with him?" I didn't answer Erpang's question. Instead, I asked him, "You tell me, why would a pregnant woman climb a mountain?" Erpang looked indifferent. She said the air was good, and she could take a walk as I climbed upward. I explained to Erpang, taking a walk and climbing a mountain are two different things. Climbing can cause miscarriage or premature birth. Hearing this, Erpang was taken aback. "Now that you mention it, that does seem off." Erpang scratched his head and followed behind me. I had lost the desire to chat, so I just kept my head down and climbed. A full hour or more later, Erpang and I were both panting heavily. We didn't want to climb anymore. At that moment, I fell into thought. This Yi mountain was very steep. Even a half-grown kid like us was exhausted to this point, yet that pregnant woman came to climb the mountain. It had been climbing for so long. We hadn't even seen her figure. That meant she was climbing faster than us. I sat down on a nearby bench to rest. Sweat was pouring out of me. Pang was even less particular. He sat directly on the steps beside him. He was much fatter than me, and his sweat had already soaked through his clothes. Brother Tian, is that trick of yours reliable or not? Is Xiao Fang's man really on this mountain? I waved my hand. As long as it's activated, it's always accurate. Let's rest a bit. We'll talk once we reach the summit. Pang nodded. Just as we were resting, Pang suddenly exclaimed, Tian Gao, what's this? I followed his gaze. Pang was sitting on the steps. Beside him was a natural stone, with a mark drawn on it in black ink. The overall pattern was a 5-pointed star. Not very big. It looked like some kid had drawn it out of boredom. And it had been drawn recently. That alone wasn't strange. But next to this pattern, there was a small 6 written. I frowned slightly. It was hard to understand. In the end, I just smiled helplessly. Just a kid doodling out of boredom. Come on, let's hurry up the mountain. With that, I pulled Pang up and continued climbing. After walking a bit further, I suddenly stopped because I saw that on the steps above, there seemed to be another pattern marked. I quickly went over to that pattern. Again, I saw the same 5-pointed star as below, but this time the number was 7. Below it was 6. Did a worker draw this to mark the altitude? Though I found it strange, I didn't take it too seriously. Then I continued upward. This time, I counted the steps. When I reached exactly the 100th step, there was another pattern. A 5-pointed star and 8. I didn't stop, ignoring whether Pang behind me could keep up. I counted the steps again. Sure enough, at the next 100th step, there was a 5-pointed star and 9. Every 100 steps had a mark. This was clearly very unusual. It wasn't some kid playing around. There had to be a purpose. I crouched down and touched the mark with my hand. A sticky sensation came through. I pinched it with my fingers, then pulled them apart. It even stretched into a thread, but quickly broke. Curious, I brought my hand to my nose. Suddenly, a familiar stench hit me. Wasn't this the smell from that Feng sauce? He was the one who marked it. If it was him, what did he mean by marking these 5-pointed stars and numbers? I stopped in my tracks. I stopped here. Pang naturally caught up. He was panting heavily, staring at me. Were you born a rabbit or what? Running so fast. I'm exhausted. How about you go up alone? I'll wait for you here. Just call me when you come down. I turned to look at Pang, who looked half dead. He seemed like he might collapse at any moment. After thinking it over, I said, all right, wait here. With that, I pushed forward with all my strength. It was getting late, so I had to pick up the pace. The summit wasn't far off now. Every time I passed that 5-pointed star, I made sure to take note of it, observing the numbers on it. 4,748. I was almost at the top. I counted the steps, only to realize the last step led to the pavilion at the peak. But there was no marker here. I looked up at the pavilion higher up. That was the highest point of the summit. Usually, after climbing up, people would stand there to overlook the smaller mountains. But now, there was no one at the summit. I glanced around again. Aside from some greenery, a restroom, and a stone tablet, there didn't seem to be anything else. What's going on? If that General Feng made the marks, they should be above me. But I'm at the summit, and there's no one. Then who made those marks just now? Am I the first to reach the top? Did I mark them myself? I chuckled bitterly at the thought. Then, resigned, I walked toward the pavilion. Just then, I noticed someone lying on the ground inside the pavilion. It looked like a person. My heart skipped a beat. I instinctively stopped in my tracks. Looking closely, the person on the ground was that pregnant woman. She was lying in the center of the pavilion, completely still. Seeing this, I hurried over. What's wrong? No one answered. She just lay there, her back to me. I couldn't see her face. I walked over slowly. A faint stench lingered in the air, proof that General Feng had been here. I called out again. Can you hear me? Still no response. When I reached her side, I slowly reached out a hand toward her shoulder. Then, a piercing scream erupted. The next second, the woman who had been motionless suddenly flipped over. She lunged at me, pinning me to the ground of the pavilion. She sat on top of me. I was so scared I nearly lost my soul. Taking a closer look, I saw that the pregnant woman now had white, lifeless eyes. Her mouth was wide open, and she lunged at my neck. Startled, I looked at her. I quickly raised my arm to block her mouth. She bit down hard on my arm. Then she started tearing at it. A searing pain shot through me. I could clearly feel a piece of flesh being ripped from my arm. I cursed. With my other hand, I punched her in the head, but she ignored the pain in her head, just kept biting and tearing at my arm. What the hell is this? She was fine before coming up the mountain. How did she turn into this? As we struggled, at the last step of the summit, a woman suddenly appeared. She wore a meaningful smile on her face. Then she crouched down with a small bottle, drawing something on the step. I looked down toward the pavilion. When I saw this woman, I was completely stunned. It was the pregnant woman's mother. How could it be her? What is she doing? Wasn't it General Feng who made the marks? It was this woman. I shouted at her. What are you doing? Your daughter has gone crazy. Don't you know? Come over and pull her off. But she just leisurely finished drawing her pattern. Then she stood up and looked at me. I felt something was off about you back at the foot of the mountain. Let me tell you. Kid, this matter here is not something a rookie like you can meddle in. Who exactly are you? What's in it for you? My mind is full of questions right now. The woman smacked her lips. Do I know you that well? Why should I tell you? He clapped his hands, then turned and walked down the mountain. Soon, the woman vanished from my sight, and I grew more and more anxious, pushing hard against the woman on top of me. Woman, why are you so stubborn? Get off me. Have you lost your mind? My eyes fell on the woman's belly. A massive black kai was spreading, right where it was swollen. It asked the spirit's influence again. Why is there a second spirit? I had no time to think about that now. Staring at that belly wrapped in black kai, I immediately thought of how I handled Xiao Fang. First, calm her down. Yelling like that 1T calm a child. It'll only make him feel more threatened by me. How do you soothe a kid? Maybe try whistling. So, enduring the pain. I pursed my lips, but this seemingly simple task was incredibly difficult for me. Finally, after struggling for a long time, I managed to produce a sound. The moment the whistle came out, the woman on top of me froze for a second. Her hollow eyes gained a faint glimmer, but the next moment, she bit down again. Bastard, she said. Tearing again. I gasped sharply. I'd forgotten that Bastard had whistled too, but this just proved that whistling affects the spirit. I just hadn't kept it up, so I tried my best to blow a complete tune. After about 10 seconds, the pain in my arm eased. The woman dazedly lifted her head, then let go of my arm she had been biting. Her eyes gradually regained their light. I didn't dare stop whistling. After a short while, the woman slowly sat up, then looked ahead as I also stood up. The pregnant woman's gaze was fixed on the descending steps. Kill that bitch of a woman for me. She wants to kill me too, she stood up dazedly. Seeing this, my heart leaped with joy. I kept whistling. The pregnant woman on me immediately turned and sat up, then quickly stood. I immediately hugged my arm. The wound on it was horrifying. There was a large gash in the middle, the flesh inside a blurry mess, and black kai was coiled around the wound. What's going on? Why? After being bitten by a woman controlled by a spirit. Is there black kai? Thinking this, I stopped whistling. I was about to run, but saw the woman sitting on the bench of the pavilion, her eyes still fixed on the path down the mountain, with no intention to attack. It seemed something had happened earlier that made her faint and then go berserk. Just when I moved her, she vented it all on me. Now she had fully recovered. I tore off a strip from the edge of my clothes. Then, using my other hand, bandaged the wound simply. That woman you mentioned, is she your mother? The woman turned to look at me. She asked just a mistress who climbed up. How could she be my mother? I trusted her so much, and she tried to kill me. I want revenge. Seeing this, I quickly backed away a few steps, but she didn't go crazy on me. Instead, she went to the last step and started digging with her bare hands. I'll make you pay for harming me. I won't let you succeed. Bitch, she dug more and more frantically. I watched, horrified, because those steps were made of stone, and she had no gloves or tools, just digging with her bare hands. I silently swallowed my saliva. I walked over nervously. You think you should calm down first. Tell me about it. Maybe I can help you get revenge. Hearing this, that woman suddenly lifted her head and stared at me. But the next second, she burst into tears. What are you doing? I haven't even had a chance to bite him. And he's already hugging me. He was about to bite me. I stood by without saying a word. I just waited quietly for her to finish crying. About 5 minutes passed. Her sobbing grew quieter. Only then did I walk over to her. I came up the mountain this time to deal with this matter. If you know anything, just tell me. Maybe I can solve it for you. Hearing my words, she glanced at me. Are you a yin-yang master? As soon as those words were spoken, I clearly saw the black aura on her belly. It started stirring restlessly again. Seeing this, I quickly waved my hand. I am not a yin-yang master. I am just a working stiff. As soon as those words were spoken, sure enough, the black mist stabilized again, but the woman's expression instantly changed. A lousy worker like you thinks you can help me. I had no choice but to spout nonsense. Although I am not one, I do know someone who understands my cousin's situation. And my cousin's situation is the same as yours. I came here on the orders of a master. Otherwise, a worker like me, why would I skip work on a weekday? After hearing that, her expression softened a bit. Your cousin was also harmed by your step. I didn't answer her. Is that your stepmother? I thought so. Even a tiger won't eat its own cubs. How could she harm you? The moment I brought this up, the woman's emotions became unstable again. She asked nothing but a vixen. My mother died early. My father was single, and I already had a child. Every time I saw my father alone at home, I felt very uneasy. It was also hard, so I took the initiative to find him a matchmaking agency. He paused. Her emotions grew even more agitated. But that father of mine, he actually ended up hooking up with the female boss of that matchmaking agency. If I didn't call her a vixen, who would? She must have set her sights on my mother's. When I first heard this, I looked at her with confusion. You mean, this stepmother of yours is the female boss of the matchmaking agency? That's right. I told my dad to find someone virtuous. Looks Don matter. After all, he's almost 60, who knew he'd set his sights on that boss lady, and even pursued her. In the end, that vixen actually agreed. She became my stepmother. I looked at her with a puzzled expression. And then, the woman sighed. Oh, she just moved into my house openly. At first, Seeing how young she was, and dressed like a seductress, I didn't give her a good face, but she knew how to sweet-talk my dad, seeing my dad so cheerful every day. I softened. Originally, I just wanted my dad to be happy. Now that he is so joyful, over time, I accepted her. I nodded. Isn't that a good thing? Why do you say she harmed you? The woman spat. Good. My ass, this woman today put on a good show. Bringing me up the mountain, said it was good for the baby, but halfway up, my belly started bleeding. I wanted to call an ambulance, but she wouldn't let me, while I wasn't paying attention. She knocked me out. As she spoke, he started searching her body for something. I patted her. Why did she insist on bringing you up the mountain? How should I know? She definitely wanted to kill me up here, push me off the mountain to destroy the evidence. Hearing this, I thought to myself, impossible. That woman must have another goal. If it were just murder for money, do the authorities eat for nothing? A simple check of travel records and scenic spot tickets would catch her. I looked at the bloodstained steps beneath her feet. Then what about this mark? What's gotten into you? The woman suddenly screamed. She said it was to bless our family with peace. I wouldn't let her have peace. Better to go down in flames together. My mind raced through everything. This trip to Yi Mountain, then locked onto that Feng Shijiang. What's up with your husband? You're being bullied by your stepmother. And him? What happened to my husband? He's fine. Seeing his reply, I opened my mouth to ask Feng Shijiang what he told them his profession was, since he lied to his family. But before I could speak, a person slowly walked up the mountain. I'm exhausted. Xiaoyu, why are you sitting on the ground? As he spoke, he came before us. Then he saw the bloodstains on the ground. Xiaoyu, what happened to you? Why is there blood all over the ground? I'll take you to the hospital. Saying this, Feng Shijiang anxiously picked up the woman and turned to walk down the mountain. Seeing her husband, the woman began crying in grievance. Husband, you're finally here. You don't know what that bitch did. She hit me and forced me up the mountain. Don't leave me alone next time. Okay, Feng. While carrying the woman down the steps, kept looking at him. Why did he do that? I just took a call from work. I won't do it again. Don't talk for now. I'm taking you to the hospital. If it hurts, bite my arm. As he spoke, he then offered his arm to the woman's mouth. I stood there watching them, feeling a bit moved. Seems I misjudged Feng Shijiang. He probably hid his job, but he truly loves his wife. Now it seems the problem lies with this stepmother, female boss of a matchmaking agency. What exactly is she up to? I watched them descend the mountain, then walked alone to the edge of the peak, carefully observing the mountain's layout. This place is a complete death trap. Why did that boss bring a prostitute here? Was it really just for money? To kill her, or did she also see this as a death trap, hoping an accident would kill the prostitute, so she could escape responsibility? But what does this have to do with Xiaofeng? I rubbed my face in frustration. I returned the way I came, checking the marks on the ground again. What the hell do these mean? I walked down with a grim expression, and happened to see Erpeng, sleeping on a bench in the scenic area. Erpeng, hearing his name, he jolted upright. What's so funny? I thought you'd moved to the summit. Why'd it take so long? Even that pregnant woman and her man. They went up first and came down already. Erpeng nodded when he saw me, then crept over with a sly look. Bro, I might have made a big discovery. I raised an eyebrow. What did you find? Remember that pregnant woman's family. I'll tell you. Her mother and her son-in-law are having an affair. Hearing this, I was stunned. What the hell? That's explosive. What did they say that made you think that? Erpeng was pleased with my reaction. That guy just waited nearby, never going up the mountain. After a while, the pregnant woman's mother came down and told the man, it's done. Wait for me at the villa at midnight 2 days from now. Tell me. Behind the pregnant woman's back, what would they be doing at midnight? He grew more lecherous as he spoke, as if he'd actually seen them doing something. But my expression changed. I didn't think the same as Erpeng. Those words sounded like an affair, but it might not be that kind of thing. It could be a plan to do something else. Something Xiao you shouldn't know. Looking at it this way, Feng Shijiang is still suspicious. Thinking this, my head hurt even more. Things just got more complicated. Feng Shijiang and the female boss are in cahoots. Xiaoyu herself is unaware, and the stepmother wants to harm Xiaoyu. Little Yu has a spirit in his belly, just like Xiaofeng's. Xiaofeng's problem lies at Yi Mountain. Yi Mountain is a place of great ill omen. Little Yu's whole family showed up at Yi Mountain. These clues raced through my mind. To get to the bottom of this, there were two leads: the matchmaking agency's female boss and that Feng-style mortician. I had no idea who the female boss was. Couldn't investigate her. But the Feng-style mortician worked at the funeral home. I knew the gatekeeper there, Old Lai Yu. We were practically brothers. It'd be easy to ask around, so we hurried out of the scenic area and took a cab to the funeral home. When we got out, all around were pitch-black woods. Only the funeral home had a dim, old-fashioned bulb lit. Erpeng hugged his arms and grumbled to Tiangang, this place isn't haunted, is it? I shot him a glare. Then I slipped in through the familiar path. The gatehouse had a sign that read registration. I tapped on the glass. Inside, Old Lai Yu was glued to a small TV watching a ball game. He took off his reading glasses, saw it was me, and his expression shifted, but he still opened the door. Brother, what brings you here this late? He caught sight of Erpeng, and his eyes lit up. Fat brother's here too. Haven't eaten? I'll whip up some pig head meat with beiju. Erpang's ears perked up at the mention of meat and booze. He nodded eagerly. That sounds great. I love pig head meat. The ears and cartilage are the best. I grabbed Erpang. Don't eat. We're here for business. Old Lai Yu saw I was serious. He thumped his chest. We're brothers. Just say what you need. I looked around to make sure no one was there. Then I lowered my voice and asked, is that Feng-style mortician here? Old Lai Yu was taken aback. What Feng-style mortician? This is an official funeral home. That's Dr. Kai, a proper medical school graduate. The folk Feng-style mortician you mentioned couldn't possibly work here. I quickly asked, is Dr. Kai in? He's off today. Last time you saw him, he was on duty. Old Lai Yu reached for the desk phone. Want me to call him for you? I stopped him. Don't call. Let me ask you something. Doesn't Dr. Kai have a pregnant wife? Why not give him a few more days off? Old Lai Yu looked at me like I was crazy. When did he ever get married? He's an old bachelor just like me. He's 35 this year. His standards are sky high. He turned down every match someone set up for him. Erpang and I were stunned. Erpang scratched his head and looked at old Lai Yu. That's impossible. We saw him on the mountain today, with his wife and mother-in-law. Are you not that close with him? Hearing this, old Lai Yu got a bit annoyed. Bullshit. No one in this funeral home gets married without me knowing. He's definitely not married. It's not some secret. Why would I lie about it? Seeing how serious he looked, he didn't seem like he was making it up. Erpang and I exchanged glances. What's going on here? We clearly saw his family, but his colleague doesn't know a thing. I suppressed my doubts. Maybe we got it wrong. Tell us about Dr. Kai's basic situation. Old Lai Yu glanced at me, then at Erpang, who was looking lost. Are you investigating Dr. Kai? I can tell you, but Fat Brother has to promise me one thing. I cursed inwardly. This old fox was pulling his usual stunt. He'd tricked me before, and now he was targeting Erpang. No wonder they called him Old Lai Yu. Erpang frowned. I've got no money. I eat whatever Tiangang eats. Old Lai Yu gave a dark chuckle. Talking money hurts feelings. We're all brothers. I just have one request: save my life someday. I couldn't afford to waste any more time. The spirit matter was getting worse the longer it dragged on, so I agreed for Erpang. Fine, just say it already. But old Lai Yu insisted on hearing it from Erpang himself. I gave Erpang a look. He nodded. All right, can you talk now? Old Lai Yu's face lit up with joy. He lit a cigarette as the room filled with smoke from the incense. The old matchmaker began to speak slowly. That doctor's full name is Kai Ming. He was a genuine top student. He excelled in his studies from a young age. His family was strict with him. Later, he followed their wishes and studied medicine. He specialized in skeletal anatomy. At the medical school, he was also a top-tier scholar. Everyone thought he would surely enter a major hospital. His future seemed boundless. His family had even prepared a celebration banquet. They notified relatives and friends, saying they could turn to Kai Ming for help in the future. But reality slapped them hard in the face. None of the big hospitals admitted him. Meanwhile, his classmates who were less capable, relying on family connections, either entered major hospitals or provincial ones. Even the worst among them got jobs at the municipal health center. Yet he, the top scholar among them, ended up with nothing. The immense gap nearly drove him to suicide. Later, he resigned himself to fate. He went to interview at one hospital after another, but he was rejected every single time. Only then did he understand. In this society, what matters isn't ability. It's not academic credentials. It's connections and favors. It's personal networks. Kai Ming hit walls everywhere in his job search. Disheartened, he simply gave up on orthopedics. He found a job as a hearse driver. Besides knowing human anatomy, the only thing he could do was drive. This job paid well, and the hours were short. It suited him perfectly. He worked steadily, and he always helped carry the bodies. Before long, he caught the attention of the funeral home's female director, who was in her 30s. After inquiring, the director learned he was a top student, with excellent grades in school. She immediately saw him as a talent. She used her connections to apply for a special quota, and recruited Kai Ming as the funeral home's executive physician. In truth, it was just the work of a corpse stitcher, relying on his solid knowledge of human anatomy. Kai Ming handled it with ease. To keep him, the director also secured him a permanent position, so Kai Ming settled in and worked there for 5 years. His personality gradually brightened. He got along well with his colleagues. Many older coworkers tried to set him up on dates, but every blind date failed. No one at the funeral home knew he had a wife. After hearing this long story, Erpang and I felt uneasy. We had clearly seen Kai Ming's wife, but given his situation, he didn't seem like a married man at all. And Kai Ming had also hidden his job from Zio Yu. Seeing we were silent, old Yu offered to help investigate. I didn't agree. Without evidence, I was afraid spreading it would become slander. For now, the lead was dead. We could only find a breakthrough from the female boss. So Erpang and I got up and left the funeral home. The mountain road was hard to hail a cab. As we were walking, we heard a honk behind us. Turning around, it was the beautiful woman in the sports car who had given me a ride last time. She smiled and told us to get in. I quickly pulled the still-dazed Erpang, and we got in. Erpang sat in the back seat. He suddenly remembered. Wasn't it her who drove you back to the shop last time? I smiled and nodded. I asked the beauty if she worked nearby. She started the car and casually said she lived nearby. On the road afterward, the woman responded casually. not keen on chatting much, but she answered whatever was asked. Erpeng sat in the back seat. I couldn't help but ask about the high wind and rheumatism. What's going on? One moment he has a wife. The next he doesn't. I was dizzy. Hearing that, I quickly glared at him through the rearview mirror. I didn't want anyone to know about this. I'd only met her twice. There was no need to say more. Before I could speak, the woman asked about Kai Ming first. Are you talking about Dr. Kai? I was stunned. He actually knows Kai Ming. The woman smiled. No need to be surprised. I live nearby. We're practically neighbors. Of course, I know him. My heart sank. There are no houses near the funeral parlor. Where does he live? The woman seemed to see through my thoughts. You're not from around here. Are you? My home is in the villa district, behind the funeral parlor. I occasionally treat the staff there to a meal. I heard that Feng Shijiang is very young and talented. Quite a few girls like to flirt with him. Erpeng looked at the woman the beauty and read curiously. What do you do? Living in a villa and driving a sports car. I quickly stopped Erpeng. You're just hitching a ride. Why ask so many questions? Who cares what she does? Actually, I had already figured it out. Her cheeks were full. She had good bone structure but fox-like eyes, and her mouth naturally curved upward. Classic mistress material. For so many years, being able to live in a villa and drive a luxury car, you didn't need to think hard to know what was going on. Erpeng wasn't convinced. You're so young, you have a wife, but you won't let me get to know more girls. The woman smiled. I don't have a job. I get bored at night and go to bars to drink. This only confirmed my suspicions. Erpeng still wouldn't give up. No job, just drinking, and still driving a luxury car. Could I do that too? This made the woman laugh out loud. I'm afraid you can't. After the joke, the woman took the initiative to ask. You want to inquire about Dr. Kai Ming. Meeting twice is fate. I have a friend working in a relevant department. He can help you look into it. Hearing this, my heart leaped with joy. This hitchhiking trip had brought an unexpected gain. What a harvest. Her friend was probably that big boss. Right. I scratched my head. I'm really sorry to trouble you. Actually, we're kind of related to him. The woman drove while asking. Relatives. I quickly made up a reason. Yeah, my cousin works in the city. She fell for Kai Ming, but is too shy to confess. She wants us to find out if he has a family, to help set them up. The woman smiled. Helping your cousin pursue love. This kind of matchmaking is doing a good deed. I immediately perked up. Really? Don't worry. I'll ask my friend to check soon. I'll have news for you tomorrow morning. Hearing this, I thought to myself, what confidence. Her friend must hold a high position. Definitely not an ordinary employee. This fate of mine as the underworld emperor's chosen one is really something. So many opportunities, luck so good it's scary. Whenever trouble comes, I always turn misfortune into fortune. The car finally drove into the city. Neon lights and bustling streets. It looked quite extravagant, but suddenly, I felt homesick. Home was poor, the village was shabby, but there was my stubborn grandfather, my sighing father, my gentle mother, and my grandmother, who passed away 5 years ago. Back then, she was so good to me. Too bad I can never go back. I sighed, looking out the car window. The woman noticed my mood. She smiled and said, Night always makes people sentimental. I don't stay home much at night. I always go out. Do you want to come to the bar with me for a drink? Before I could answer, Erpeng answered first. Sure, we don't have anything to do. My dad said city bars are all for hooking up. The woman laughed again. Your friend is really funny. I scratched my head. Yeah, he is, but I have a family. It's not convenient. Hearing this, the woman looked at me with slight surprise. How old are you? At most 20. And you're already married. I felt awkward again. I'm 18. To be honest, I've had a family since I was 3. It's not really marriage, just a childhood betrothal. I'm from the countryside. The woman nodded. Is your wife pretty? I was about to speak, but Erpeng, that show-off, jumped in again. She's beautiful. His wife is really beautiful, even more beautiful than you. Hearing that, the woman looked at me with interest. Is that so? What a lucky man. I'd love to see what kind of stunning beauty she is. Maybe we could even become besties. I froze for a moment. Damn. You really know how to flirt. With Yingxuang's personality, could she ever be your bestie? If you said Yingxuang could be close friends with anyone, I'd never believe it. So I awkwardly brushed it off. Maybe another time. He might not be too fond of making friends. The woman laughed again. Little bro, you seem really scared of your wife. Why do you get flustered every time you mention her? After saying that, she parked the car at the entrance of Beishi Street and looked at me with a teasing gaze. I burst out laughing. How could that be? Don't misunderstand. I do have a wife, but I am not afraid of her at all. At home, she is the one who pours my foot-washing water. If the temperature is off, I just slap her right across the face. The comment made Erpeng laugh out loud, but he was still trying hard to hold it in. The woman didn't continue the topic. Which shop are you at? I'll come find you after I check tomorrow. I waved my hand. No need. No need. Your car can get in anyway. Just stay at this spot, then dial this landline, 788. I'll come out to meet you. The woman glanced at me. See you tomorrow. Then, with that, She started the car and sped off. After watching her car disappear, I let out a long sigh. That last look she gave me. Did she figure out I didn't dare let Yingxuang know? Once the woman was gone, Erpeng finally couldn't hold it in anymore. He burst out laughing at me. Haha, bro Jai. You really know how to brag. When has she ever poured foot-washing water for you? And temperature S off. Slap her right across the face, you just make it up on the spot. You're killing me. I stared at Erpeng with icy eyes. His laughter stopped abruptly. Don't want to eat anymore. Erpeng immediately shook his head seriously, and his stomach cooperated by growling. I turned around. I am hungry too. Today we saved on cab fare coming down the mountain. Today, we were going all out. Erpeng quickly caught up, looking at me expectantly. Tianga, what can we eat that's luxurious? I waved my hand grandly as I walked inside. First, we buy 2 packs of instant noodles, the value pack, since it's a lot. Then we grab 2 sausages. Finally, some country-style pickled eggs. Hearing that, Erpeng pouted. This is what you call going all out. I immediately turned to look at Erpeng. I am not done yet. What's the rush? Erpeng looked at me with renewed hope. I picked my nose. All right, plus 1 serving of fried chicken. Okay, back inside the shop, Erpeng chased after me, shouting, Han Tiangang, you said you buy pickled eggs. Why aren't you giving me any? I dodged Erpeng nimbly, but because he was heavy, he couldn't catch me. While running, I stuffed the egg from the instant noodles into my mouth. Erpeng finally couldn't run anymore. He leaned on a nearby table, panting heavily, glaring at me fiercely. I smiled at him. I said I buy pickled eggs, but I didn't say who eat them. Maybe because we were too loud. Yingxuang, sitting at the counter, couldn't help but speak up. Can you keep it down? As soon as she said that, both Erpeng and I behaved. We sat obediently at the dining table and started eating our instant noodles. Her icy voice came from behind. About that old lady's matter. I'll give you at most 1 more day. If you can handle it. Starting the day after tomorrow. No sleeping at night. Go to the backyard and practice steel steps. Hearing that, I immediately turned to look at her. Miss Yin, you have no idea how complicated it is. The more I investigate, the more confused I get. Xiaofeng has acquired a spirit. I followed the clues to Yi Mountain. As it turned out, I ran into another Xiao Yu. He also has a spirit. Tired of my endless chatter, Yingxuang cut me off with a cold voice. Only useless men blame things for being difficult. Capable man is already figuring out a solution. I never had any skill to begin with. They just gave me a book and told me to read it myself. I did memorize it all, but I never learned anything else. I do want to go on a rampage, but I need the skill to do it. Let me finish speaking. Yingxuang set down the book in her hand and lifted her eyes slightly. Are you blaming me for not teaching you skills? The moment her aura flared, I couldn't help but swallow hard. It's my own lack of skill. After saying that, I lowered my head like a coward and turned to eat my instant noodles. But when I turned, I found my noodles were gone. Even the broth was empty. I looked over and saw Erpeng holding his belly, gazing at me with a satisfied expression. Erpeng, you bastard, you stole my noodles. I wanted to kill that guy, but then Yingxuang's voice rang out from behind. Then I'll teach you today. Follow me to the room. After saying that, she stood up and walked toward the back courtyard. At that moment, her limbs were now completely normal. Just like an ordinary person's. You couldn't tell she used to hop around. I shot a glare at Erpeng. Tomorrow, I'll starve you to death. Then I turned and followed Yingxuang. She slowly climbed the stairs, watching her graceful figure and smelling the lingering fragrance in the air. Our destination was her private chamber. My heart started pounding uncontrollably. My mind began to wander with wild thoughts. She's not stiff anymore now. She has no breath. Could we finally act like a proper husband and wife and do something intimate? Yingxuang pushed open the door and stepped inside. I hesitated for a moment, then stepped in as well. Inside, a refreshing fragrance immediately filled the. I looked around. Her room was simply furnished. A bed, a desk, and a dressing table. Nothing else was placed there. Seeing me standing at the door in a daze, Yingxuang's voice rang out. Get on the bed and take off your clothes. Hearing this, I was stunned. I stared at her in disbelief. What do you mean? I saw Yingxuang remove the green robe she wore, revealing a fair, elegant shoulder. At that sight, I felt my blood rush. Instinctively, I averted my gaze. Yingxuang looked at me coldly. What are you standing there for? Waiting for me to do it? You doing it? That doesn't seem right. Shouldn't the man take the lead? As soon as I said that, the temperature around us instantly dropped to freezing. I quickly jumped onto the bed. I'll take it off, I said, starting to pull down my pants. Yingxuang quickly reminded me. Take off your top. Fine. Whatever you say. I'll take it off. Miss Ying, don't glare at me like that. I feel like you're about to eat me alive. Instinctively, I hugged my chest. My face flushed red as I looked at her. Yingxuang blinked. Neil, I was dumbfounded. Don't go too far. Can't we do something normal? I can't accept this kind of humiliation. Yingxuang waved her hand slightly, and I was forced to kneel before her. I glared at her. You can force my body, but my soul will never submit. Yingxuang gave a cold, faint smile. Then she walked over to me and traced her slender fingers across my back. I felt an electric shock run through my entire body. Then she bent down slightly, bringing her lips to my ear. Husband, I really like how defiant you are right now. Her words sent a wave of numbness through my whole body. Kill me or cut me. Just give me a quick end. Xianxia immediately sneered coldly. With a flick of her wrist, a burning incense stick appeared from nowhere. Before I could react, he thrust the incense stick straight into my shoulder. A piercing pain shot through me, making me kneel on the bed and cry out loud. Xianxia showed no intention of stopping at all. The force in her hands only grew stronger. The continuous burning pain had me cursing my mother several times. Before long, my bare upper body was already drenched in sweat. But this woman, Xianxia, showed not a shred of pity. If you want me to teach you, you must first perform the apprenticeship ceremony. This village path is the only way into our sect. Now, lie down flat. Hearing this, I couldn't help but feel displeased. What kind of twisted apprenticeship ceremony is this? After I knelt down and endured the torment, Xianxia placed her hand on my shoulder. First, she gently squeezed it, then used a peculiar technique in an instant. The next second, I clearly heard the sound of my bones. Then she quickly moved to my shoulder blade, and another crack sounded, but it didn't hurt at all. Instead, I felt incredibly comfortable, so a room soon filled with sounds that could easily be misunderstood. That feels great. This is so comfortable. The next morning, I walked out of Xianxia's room with dark circles under my eyes. I hadn't rested for a single moment all night. At first, she did something called bone adjustment, and then she started chanting scriptures to me. Although I listened with great interest and understood a lot of it, feeling as if I had been enlightened. I am still human after all. Later on, I was about to die from exhaustion, but she showed no mercy at all. Every time I was about to fall asleep, she would take out a burning incense stick. The moment I saw that thing, I was instantly jolted awake. The whole night was spent in fright. As I stepped out, I saw Erpang looking at me with a sly grin. Hey, Tiangeng, how was the taste of that woman? I waved my hand impatiently. What taste of a woman? I was studying last night. What's always on your mind? You should watch fewer of those discs from the village chief's house. Hearing this, Erpang looked unconvinced. Don't lie to me, who makes sounds like awe when studying. Comfortable? This feels great. And later it turned into I can't take it anymore. I can't handle it. Your wife's needs are really high. With your skinny frame, he was still enthusiastically imitating me. But then he immediately shut up. Tiangeng, there's a phone call for you. From the supermarket across the street. I'm just here to deliver the message, not to eavesdrop. With that, he ran off in a flash. Seeing him like this, I knew it must be Xianxia coming out. I sighed helplessly. It was probably that girl in the luxury cut. No sleep all night, and still have to work. What kind of life is this? With that, I walked out of the shop. I found the supermarket from before. Inside sat an old woman. Are you Han Tiangeng? I nodded and took the phone. The familiar female voice came through immediately. Kid, I'm at the entrance of your street. Aren't you afraid of your wife? Come find me quietly. I'll be right there. Let's meet at the north intersection, where we always park. I hung up the phone and dragged my exhausted body toward the street corner. The old woman immediately tapped on the glass. You have to pay for the call too. You think it's free. Young and you don't even have a phone. I've seen it all now. You're less trendy than me and the old man. Seeing this, I had no choice. I took a 1 yuan coin from my pocket and handed it over. Auntie, don't be so stingy. Phone calls should be free for you. You're nothing like the old man before. After I said this, the old woman threw a 5 mao coin back at me with a look of disdain. If you want to find your old man, go ahead. What were prices back then? What are prices now? With that, she was about to close the glass window. I was speechless. I took the money and walked out, muttering about what happened a couple of days ago. What prices from back then, no matter how much prices rise, they can't change overnight. I had already taken a few steps, but the old woman slid the glass door open again. His face was full of confusion. A few days ago, when my daughter got married, I didn't even open it. Where did you make that call from? I frowned. It was the morning before last. An old man wearing reading glasses, quite thin, that must have been your husband. Called him over here. If it is not 50 cents, I'll give you $5. The old woman immediately dropped her previous expression. Then she looked at me with a terrified face. Young man, you just said the day before yesterday. An old man with glasses, very thin, was in my shop. Seeing her like this, I knew she was scared. Absolutely true. He even chatted with me about the issues with this shop of mine now. He was a much better person than you. The next second, the old woman's face changed. My husband died 3 years ago. Hearing this, half of my drowsiness vanished. Your husband is dead. The old woman nodded. Who would lie to you about that? At our age, we don't joke about being dead or alive. Would I curse him to death? I looked at her seriously. Auntie, how can you prove he is dead? Hearing this time, the old woman was stunned. Let me show you my husband's memorial photo. With that, she pulled a picture frame from the drawer, and the photo inside was unmistakably the old man I had seen. Now I was completely jolted awake. Seeing that I was silent, the old woman carefully wiped the frame again. You couldn't have seen him. You just came to this street. He passed away 3 years ago. I steadied myself. Sorry, Auntie. I didn't mean to offend. Seeing that I was no longer arguing with her, the old woman put the frame away. She gave me a faint smile. I have my faults too. I am blunt and quick with my tongue, offended plenty of people when I was young. My husband always helped smooth things for me. Don T, take it to heart. Anyway, since we resettling up, I can refund that 50 cents for you. I waved my hand. No need. No need. Just charge the normal fee. With that, I turned and left the street. Soon, by the roadside, I spotted the familiar red sports car. Sitting inside was that woman. She, like me, hadn't slept well all night. Seeing this, I opened the car door and got in. You didn't rest well either. She turned to look at me, handing me a file folder. This is what you asked for. It'll probably blow your mind. I didn't know why she said that, but I took the folder anyway. Then I opened it. On top was a photo of Kai Ming, followed by an introduction to Kai Ming. Age, experience, and so on. Finally, my eyes stopped on a line of insurance documents. The insured person was named Lai Yu. There was a photo of Lai Yu, the same Zio Yu I had seen on the mountain. Under the beneficiary column was Kai Ming's name. There was even a copy of the original document. It was written clearly. If Lai Yu died accidentally, the insurance company would pay out 1 million yuan. I continued reading. The next page said Gu Ziofeng, with a personal accident insurance policy purchased. Beneficiary, Kai Ming. I stared blankly at the photo. This was Ziofeng's insurance. The beneficiary was also Kai Ming. What's going on? Ziofeng and Zio US man was the same person. It all clicked. Seeing that I was silent, she quietly lit a cigarette. Keep reading. I flipped through more pages. Only then did I notice that Kai Ming's own introduction was just 2 pages, but the entire file was a thick stack. Don T, tell me the rest are all insurance copies. I stared wide-eyed, even hoping I was overthinking it. But the truth completely shattered my worldview. Zheng Kai, the lobby manager of the hotel. The beneficiary is Kai Ming. Wang Xiulin, the supermarket manager. The beneficiary is Kai Ming. And so on. My breathing grew heavy. Inside were women from all walks of life, from high-ranking executives to ordinary workers. All had purchased ginseng accident insurance, and the beneficiaries were all Kai Ming alone. I took the documents and got out of the car. The red sports car sped away. I looked down at the papers in my hand. My expression turned grim. If the other women who bought insurance all carried vengeful spirits, then I truly couldn't handle it. I'd have to let Yinchuang step in. As I walked back, I began counting how many women were involved. By the time I reached the shop entrance, I had finished counting, but I didn't go in right away. My heart jolted. 49 women. That number meant nothing on its own, but it had also appeared at Yi Mountain. I clutched the stack of insurance documents, my fingertips turning white as I rushed into the shop. Yinchuang was sitting at the bar. Wiping a compass, found it. I slapped the papers onto the table. Kai Ming bought accident insurance for 49 women. All beneficiaries are him. Ziofeng and Zioyu are among them. Yinchuang picked up the documents and scanned them twice. His brow furrowed sharply. The 49 collective yin art. Yi Mountain S Yin Emperor. He has setting up a yin nurturing life fate formation. After the yin spirits drain the mother's vitality, he can use these 49 yin lives to extend his own and pocket the insurance money too. My heart shuddered. I suddenly remembered the Taoist from Tu Village. The one in the tattered robe. He must be in league with him. The corpse poison in the village, the dark arts on the road, all their setup. The moment the words fell, a sudden gust of yin wind blew outside the door. The tattered Taoist actually appeared at the street corner. A cold laugh echoed through White Market Street. Pan Tiangeng, you ruined my plans. Today, I'll send you and this woman to the grave together. Yinchuang rose to his feet. His robe rustled fiercely. With your heretical path, he raised his hand and flung out several talismans. The tattered Taoist swept his sleeve to deflect them. The two clashed instantly in combat. I grabbed the demon-breaking axe from the table. Remembering the bone-breaking technique Yinchuang taught me, I gritted my teeth and charged in mid-battle. The Taoist revealed an opening. Yinchuang struck him in the chest with a palm. He spat out black blood, glaring venomously at me. Your family's whereabouts lie within the fate patterns of those 49 women. With that, he turned into black smoke and fled. I steadied the gasping Yinchuang. Rage blazed in my heart. 49 lives, the bloodbath in Tu Village, and my missing family, all clues intertwined. I gripped the ancient tome in my hand, my gaze firm. Yinchuang, whether it's the yin nurturing formation or the mastermind, I'll tear it all apart. Yinchuang looked at me, a flicker of softness in his eyes. Then let us go. Your family and my past are both hidden in this mist. The night deepened. The lanterns on White Market Street flickered dimly. We stepped into the darkness side by side. The shop lights behind us became the only glow in this ghostly world.